All right. Hey Jeff.
Hi Lou, how are you?
So I changed rooms on you here. I'm upstairs because there's nobody in my house.
Yeah, there's actually drapes in that room.
Yeah. So sort of. But Diane and Henry and CJ are in Illinois still, and Sam's probably at his girlfriend's. Although he might be, I have no idea with him. He doesn't tell me what he's doing.
Where's your daughter at?
She and Henry and Diane are
Okay, so
they're,
she's
they're
she's in Illinois with them.
yeah, the
Okay.
three of them are in Illinois and visiting, the family out there, Diane's side.
Where do they go to visit? What town?
I think it's Wheeling, maybe. It's where her uncle, her mom, and aunt and other uncle all live in the same, and it's like a condo townhouse, uh, you know, uh,
A
community.
little bit north of Chicago.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Nice. Well, today we have a guy that's been making some strides, and he went from not being able to be at the draft to kind of working his way up the flagpole here. So he's been doing pretty good.
but he took the collar this week, right?
Yeah, he took the collar this
Yeah,
week, but I mean, in the weeks before,
yeah, I know. I think he was up to what, fifth? It's
yeah,
pretty
it's like right
nice.
after he picked up Ellie De La Cruz and Gunnar Henderson off Larkin, his team took off.
Yeah. Well, you want
So,
you want to invite him in? I'm gonna put the AC down a degree.
all right,
All right.
I've admitted him. Let's see how long it takes him to get in here. Hi, Doug. Can you hear us?
You might be able to
You
hear
need
us.
to put
We can't hear him.
you need to put your mic on.
Oh, I gotta get one more thing. One more thing.
Can you hear us, Doug? I think we might have had this same problem last time. Can't hear you yet. See if you're on mute.
Did you call him a mute?
I said, see if you're on
I
mute.
know. I know. Listen, you mute.
In the meantime, I saw Oppenheimer over the weekend. That was very good.
Was it too long?
Oh, actually, it moved pretty quick. But it was very well acted.
Can you hear us? Can we hear you now, Doug? Sing the Baseball Enthusiast Escaping Reality podcast theme, and we'll know you're working.
I'll do the escaping reality podcast.
Well, last time you were in your basement or something first, right? And then it worked somewhere else.
Wait, yeah, I don't even see there's a mic connected right now with you. So I don't know if it's your headphones. Maybe remove the headphones out of the iPad and put them back in and see if that does it.
Whew. All right, let me see. There.
Yeah, I'm looking at the participants and it doesn't even show a mic by him. That means his headphones are not connecting.
Maybe I'll stop recording and we'll just record again. What do you think?
Well, how you gonna splice them together when you
I
post it?
won't
You're
splice
gonna
them
have two,
together. We'll
huh?
just use the second one. What do you think? Executive decision.
Well, I think he's off getting another set of headphones. You think he has a kid old enough that would teach him how to use this?
I think that's probably what's going on. Getting to help him.
I saw a hand with writing on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So what do you think? Your Mets are gonna just are they going to get rid of everybody?
I think they're going right to the top, man. I
Yeah,
just feel it.
the top of the trade market.
40
Like
game win streak. They might lose two. Maybe it's like 40-2, I think. That's what they're going to do. 25-2, like Satch did. Byron Buxton placed on paternal leave,
ooh, baby mama time.
but he said, the kid is not my son.
Don't have blue-eyed babies.
I'm studying every contour of Doug's face. Since we have no audio, then you rely on other senses more.
Yeah,
So I'm really studying the nose, the
yeah.
shape
What do you
of the
think of those? What
jaw.
do you think of those nostrils? I wonder if you can hear us.
I'm not sure.
Because like I'm looking at the participants on here and it doesn't even show a mic next to them. So I think there's something that's not jiving as far as his headphones that are plugged
Maybe
in.
maybe exit out and come in again. So what do you think? I'll start fresh when we figure this out. This is it's been what, 10 minutes.
Ooh-wee.
I wouldn't mind if my forehead wasn't so shiny. Maybe I'll turn off the center light.
Well, here's that. You're in the same boat as me here.
Still shiny.
Yeah.
It's those damn ones.
Hold me closer, shiny forehead. That's not shiny at all. It's like he was got makeup on or something. It gave him a little powder before he
Yeah,
got on camera.
Makes up for the lack of audio. You know, the video is good. A little less shiny. Hey, what's up?
All right, we got Aaron Smith coming in. And that's not, well, wait. Oh, I've got, yeah, we've got,
Woo!
now we've got him from two angles. Look at this
Yeah,
shit.
two Doug.
Nice.
Nice.
Don't give me credit.
Yeah, no, my wife is
Well, whoever helped him, thank you so much. We were starting to feel a little weird.
It was his 6-year-old neighbor.
a little awkward.
Is that a green screen in back, or is that your house?
No, that's my house. Yeah. No,
Nice.
that's
I was about to say, holy shit, it really, you know,
see how the
nice.
It's a
How you
classic
guys doing,
joint.
man? Sorry about the last time it was the video, and now this time it's the whatnot, the sound. But here I am.
In your log cabin in Montana.
Yeah.
So Jeff, I was thinking that I would stop and then just start fresh. What do you think?
I think that whole thing was kind of entertaining myself. I just
Really?
say roll with it.
It's always a good time watching that. Hey, you remember the last time I was telling you about that Kurt Bavacqua card?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Back-
backwards or whatever.
That's it. That's the backwards one. The P is backwards on the hat. It's kind of hard to see here, especially with all that sparkling jazz going on. But see
It's
the
an
P.
invisible card.
I drink too much, I pee backwards.
But it turns out it's only worth like $2 more than the other one. So, which
Yeah,
is like
the other one's worth what, 2 cents?
But it's all
$4.
volume, Doug. You know,
it's like
you get a million of those cards
$2.
and you got $2 million.
Oh,
It
but
was a
hey,
rather, you know what? Come to think of it, yeah, you know, a lot of the articles I've read, people did not like Kurt Bavacqua. He was such a shit-talking asshole that there was a lot of people in the league that could not stand that fucking guy.
I didn't know
Because they
that.
couldn't spell his name.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted something easy.
Bavacqua, hey, Kurt Bavacqua.
Hey, you want to see a card here? This has something to do with like your, remember the Pacoda stats?
Yeah.
Bill Pacoda.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, I saw this I got this in one of those packs that you get from those pop flies.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you did.
And,
Okay.
yeah, they send you a pack of cards and they're always bullshit. I mean, there's nothing really, you never get a good, actually the last one I got was a second year Barry Bonds card was in it. Bet it wasn't a rookie card, but yeah, that's that Pacoda. Figures he's on the Royals. All the stats are like really low.
So Dougie, we were Jeff was singing your praises, you know, up until this past week. You know, you took the collar, but
Yeah.
But you
We
got up to
also,
fifth right before that. It's pretty good.
I tell you, the All-Star break was not kind to my team. I was just going over like some of the shit that happened. I was like, no matter what I did, it all went wrong. You know, I was like, okay, Bryce Elder -7 against on Tuesday, Giolito -13 against the Mets, Bello on Wednesday -6 against Oakland. And then on Thursday, I'm like, well, I'm not starting fucking Kopech. He's been a disaster the last couple starts. And he gets 21 points on my bench, of course.
Dude, that's the way it's been going for pitching this year.
And McClanahan, who was, you know, unbeatable basically all year, decided to shit the bed all for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And now I got Phil dogging me. He wants McClanahan and Bradish. But he's offering Strider, which, you know, it's not bad. And was it Contreras, the Brewers catcher?
I know,
I don't know, Brad.
That's the St. Louis catcher that I just traded him.
Does he have both Contreras?
No. Oh wait, you got both Contrerases?
I don't think he does.
Jeff traded Wilson to Zach.
I traded Wilson to him, so I think he's flipping him.
Oh,
Unless he already had William. I don't know.
Yeah, no, because I told him I didn't want any part of the ex-Cub catcher. He just like, you know, his days are numbered at catcher. Really?
Yeah, well, let me just bring up, and I can tell you if he's got both of them. Hold on one second. Yeah, he's got both of them.
Oh, he
Oh, really?
does.
Yeah, he's got William and Wilson.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the one he's probably talking about then. So I went through a fucking bunch of trades this week. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys saw that, but
Well, you traded with me. That was all. That was all
yeah,
you.
What?
Yandy.
What did? Yeah, I
Well,
saw that I'm trading.
yeah, I sent Alonzo, and who else was it? A relief pitcher, was it?
Yeah, what
It
was that
was
about Alonso? Like ended up on a different team at the end of the game?
so the game before he was a suspended game. So and he had no points anyway, so it didn't really matter. But he was on a suspended game after 4 innings, so they had to finish that game the next day. But I had traded him to Lou before they played the makeup part of the game that I had him on,
Mhm.
and then the real game they were playing that day. So he played 4 of the innings out of the 9 from that one game with me, and the other 5 with Lou.
Wow, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's probably the first time it's ever happened, I think.
Did they
Doesn't
give
happen
you
very. Oh,
those
look
at
at that
bats? Did they give
glass
you
of
those at
wine.
bats?
That's like trading somebody from one dugout to the other dugout in the middle of a doubleheader.
I think has that happened before?
Yeah, that's happened before. I remember it happened on the Cubs a while back. It was like the guy played the first game. I can't remember who it was, but he played the first game of the doubleheader, got traded, and then walked across to the other to the team they were playing, walked across to the other dugout and played the second game with them.
He's like, come on, we can beat these guys. They suck.
This was a long time
That
ago.
was your
Though.
team earlier today.
So yeah, it was Estevez and Alonso for Bednar and Yande Diaz, and then I got Diego Cartaya as an A. The other deal I did was
Oh.
Kettle Marte for Wilson Contreras,
Uh-huh.
and then the other one
I like Bednar.
was Kyle Schwarber, Cristobal Sanchez, and it was another relief pitcher. Which relief? Oh, Kyle Finnegan, and I traded him for Raziel Iglesias, Blake Snell, and third baseman for the Boston. I'm having a brain fart right now.
Turner
No,
for Boston?
damn it.
Oh, you mean
Me and my damn old age. Shit.
Devers?
Devers,
Devers.
yeah.
Oh yeah, what Turner's not playing third, right? What is he DHing over there? I never even thought about that.
Yeah, he's kind of a swing guy. He's getting a little older, so he's not really. Yeah, he's probably DHing a lot, maybe playing some first base from time to time. But it worked for me. I got a 5-1 this week.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I mean, it's nice to see, things kind of evening out here a little bit, but
Look, my team was shit. They were shit. They were on their way down. I had to move something. I just have to get the shit off my team and get more polished turds.
I think at one point I was fourth overall in points. Like, I think it was the week before. Now I'm back in seventh.
Well, how many innings are you up?
Way too many. And I calculated. I was like, well, there's only like 55 games left. I can do like 7 starts a week, and it's not going to kill me. But everybody just shit the bed, and so it's like, what am I gonna do?
Well, let's take a look at it.
That's baseball, man. That's how it goes. There's
That's how baseball go.
I mean, I had a nice run there for what 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, those the IP overage is it's just gonna be one of those things where
Well, this past
Be
week,
lucky.
Sombreros got the 6-0, and they're
Yeah.
actually the hottest team in the league over the last 4. If you go back 5, I think it's Satch again, but 18-4 over the last 4, 3.5 or 4.
Bear with me. I'm gonna go blow my nose. Keep going.
And
I've had a little bit of a respiratory infection over the last week.
oh yeah, you told me
Take
about
over it.
that. And of course, Doug, you took the collar.
Sure did.
And,
I didn't think I was gonna take the collar. I knew it wasn't gonna be good, but I'm like, there's still hope. No, there's no hope.
so if we go back and take out those 6 losses from this week, you were 13-8, 17-10. Here's a good one. Last 7, you were 23-10.
Yeah.
That's the one. So the 6 weeks before, you went 23-10, and then you went 0-6 this past week. But so you can
Yeah, those
see,
0-6s don't help. They don't. None at all.
see that you were tied for 4th best record over that 6-week period, ending the week before, week before this one.
Right. Well, McClanahan, he got hurt, and he had a couple of bad starts, and Wheeler got beat up, a couple times in the last week and a half. So like, it's my best pitchers are getting hit. And
Well, congratulations, about time. That's been our shit all year.
yeah.
I mean, talk to Larkin about that. Talk to me, man. I swear to God, every week for a while there, I was just having, I'd have a good guy going that day, and the other guy that I had going would just take the points that he made right back off the board, and I would be like at 0 again. I'm like, what's the fucking point here? I just lost 10 innings and got 0 points.
Yeah. Well, it's been a year, that's for sure.
Dude, pitching has been weird this year.
It has been. It's hard to predict. I mean, even with matchups that seem favorable, just like
Nobody is consistent. That's the thing. You got maybe 10 guys in the league that are consistent, and the rest of them are like up and down.
ERAs for the league, for the beer league and major league, are up about 1/3 of a run. Last year, the beer league ERA was like 3.67, and the league ERA was like 3.97, something like that.
Mhm.
And then this year, the baseball ERA is like 4.3. It's probably a week old when I looked at it last, 4.29, whatever. So I don't know where it is exactly. And our league ERA is 3.97. So last year was like 3.67. So for the league, we're up about 0.3 runs on ERA.
What makes you feel any better, Doug? You were the boned up the ass specialist this week.
Yeah,
Yeah, this didn't help either. You've actually moved into the Buddha league.
that's unfortunate.
And the daddies
Hey,
are getting down into
Buddha,
normal territory, less than
speaking
a
of
win
owned
off.
up the butt, did you see that Tyler Rogers pick off on Ellie De La Cruz when he was at second base?
No.
It was ridiculous. Okay, so it is the most deceptive right-handed pickoff move to second base I've ever seen in my life. Because you know how he's all hunkered down, and he's got that sidearm thing, and he's always down low, right? Well, he just kind of like turns around and just steps off the bag, and it looks so weird. And he was out by a mile. He picked him off. But they're both my guys. But I don't get credits for pickoffs. That's not in
No.
the for beer league stats.
Hey, is there a way to put a point in for a pickoff for a pitcher?
There is, yeah. Yahoo does.
That's such a rare thing. I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest with you. It's just an extra bonus point for a pitcher's great play.
Yeah, I mean, I do love good pickoff moves, and I tried to develop my own, and I had several ways I would use to try and keep runners honest. Which one of them was looking at there was a guy on third. I looked right at him when I was pitching. I wasn't looking at home plate, so he was always like, "Hey, what's this guy doing? Why is he eyeball fucking me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I don't need to look at home plate to throw a strike." And and I had a decent move to second too, but yeah, not everybody has a good pickoff move. That's for
Well, I had a guy in high school. He would peek through his legs like he was stretching,
sure.
and then he'd throw the ball through his legs to
Through
first
his
base,
legs?
and the guy would not even know what the hell was happening, and he's just standing there, and the fucking ball just one hops to the first baseman. He's just like, "There you go."
Oh man, that's a good move. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I don't think you ever see that outside of high school, because any college coach going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Did you see that one a few years ago? There was a little video of a pickoff move. It might not even have been in the majors. I think it was in the minors, but could have been college even. But the pitcher took off his glove. So he was
Oh
like, you know,
yeah, I
and then
remember that.
he just like threw to first. Like the runner had, you know, he thought he was like, wow, he's
He's got his
rubbing
glove
the
off. He's, the ball's in the glove. What's he gonna? But he had the
Yeah,
ball
but
in his
he's
hand.
not the one catching it. So
But all right. So, anyways, we talked about McBrides and sombreros. Sombreros, you know, went 6-0, and they're
what a low scoring week.
and look at the daddies.
Yeah, I mean, nobody
Finally,
really had great numbers last week.
finally, put 2.5 games between dads and Hack here now. So now it's the knockers that Hack can try to get
Yeah,
out last. But Hack's been in last for so long, and he's been so close. It's just, you know, he's not one of those teams that's like 10 games into last, but he stayed there the whole time. So
If
speaking
I
of
can
that,
catch by the end of the year, like Let's Player Bizzotti, I'll be pretty satisfied with that. Or even get into fourth. I mean, I'm not quitting. I'm just changing up my tune.
speaking of Hack, I actually got to see Chad last weekend at his farm. I got to meet the legendary circus chicken.
Really?
Yeah, we did a little gaming out there. Some of the boys.
Oh yeah.
Phil was
I
out
actually
there.
sent Chad left his scarf here the day of the draft, and I had it ever since. And you know, I'm just sitting around turkey telling that thing for about 8 months, 4 months. No, really, about 4 months. Not really, I wasn't turkey telling it. But he really likes that scarf. It means something to him. So I made sure that um, Will brought it out. And then
Oh,
I sent a case of beer along with it too.
oh, nice.
So you might have been drinking some of the beer I sent.
I
If you're
might.
drinking, if you're drinking Kronenberg or Boulevard, Tank 7. Yeah.
No, I was drinking Stone IPA, but it was really good to see everybody. Eric Neffenegger, he was in the beer league for a while, wasn't he?
yeah, he was in until 2007. So I think
Yeah.
2006 was his last.
I
Yeah,
heard
Will, of
this.
course.
I heard the story of me scaring the shit out of you guys when you were playing over at his house on Stave, me crawling underneath the garage door.
Well, you didn't scare the shit out of us. It was just like, what the fuck is happening here? There's this guy, face is beat red, crawling underneath the garage that looks Jeff like Jeff. And I mean, you look like you'd had a couple for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. Coming from Lemmings, you know,
Yeah,
going home.
going home, just got off work, but that was really funny. Yeah,
I
we're out
drove
there.
by, saw the door open. I'm like, ooh,
How can I mess with these guys, right?
yeah, pretty much. You know, the fucking little horns came out. I'm like, how can I fucking fuck with them?
Yeah, those were the days, man. That was one of the best garage we played in. Even still with that thunder bucket in the corner, it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
You're lucky you didn't pop your head into the thunder bucket and get a face fall. That would have
Oh,
been
that
nasty.
probably would have been a bad. Yeah, that would have been the last time I done that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Eric still plays with Dan, right? Dan Whitaker.
No, Dan moved down to Texas.
Oh, so okay, so he's not. All right. Is
Just
are
I think
any of the band members down in Texas too, besides Eric?
just old bass player from DeKalb days.
Maduki?
No.
Oh, good. He's guitar.
God, no, I don't even. That's embarrassing that I can't remember his name. Tim. Tim was a bass player in Dan Whitaker country band, and he moved down to Texas with Dan. So I haven't seen
Well,
those guys in a long time. Dan actually, I mean, I love the guy, but he actually he like deleted me from some original recordings, and I was a little upset about it. Like took my vocals out, took my guitar out, and stuff like that, and replaced it with somebody else. But
Oh,
yeah, I mean, on a couple songs, but I mean, you can still hear some of them. But
well, if he's moved
yeah,
down to Texas, he's probably going to have no problem finding anybody to play with him down there.
yeah, no, he's got a really good. I mean, he plays he taught himself steel guitar too. I mean, I know he had taken lessons with Brian Wilkie at some point, but he's actually, I mean, he's a decent steel player in his own right, along with his noodling on the telly. But Dan's a talented multi-instrumentalist for sure.
That was what you played, right? Didn't you play lap?
I played pedal steel in that band for a couple years. Yeah, I bought this really nice 1969 Buddy Emmons pedal steel from Steel Guitar Nashville, and had it shipped up. And because I had to get one because Dan said I couldn't play in the band anymore unless I got my own pedal steel, and so I had to get one, and I had to take lessons. But then we got another guy came in and played. It was good, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I had two babies and could only play once a week. I couldn't do like two shows or three shows a week anymore. And so I moved.
I remember seeing you play with him. Like that was like the Hottie Biscotti days, right? I think those are the
Yeah.
we had the draft of Hottie Biscotti.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that was like your influence while we were at Biscotti, right?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was kind of a cool bar. I liked Dustin, the bartender, was cool as shit, and it was a nice little place that not too many people knew about. And
is it gone
like
now, or is it?
I don't know. I haven't been down in that area in a long time.
What area was Hottie Biscotti in?
Said it was on Fuller.
Palmer Square.
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
No.
No, I would know it. It'd be in my area.
It was on Fullerton, I think.
Yeah, that's
it's definitely not there anymore. How far west was it?
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, it was pretty far west. I mean, we used to play. What's that other place? The Levee. You remember? You go to? Is the Levee still there? On Fullerton?
Nope.
No, that place was old time place. This huge horseshoe bar. It was gorgeous.
Huh.
But that the owner of that place, he was a little, he wasn't long for the world. I don't think he was always in the half in the bag.
Yeah, pretty much everything west of the Chicago River is under my territory and stuff. I've got like 6 reps and a relief rep handling the whole thing. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would know if it was if it was still open, I would know it. And
Yeah,
I don't have
Brian Furry?
Who?
Brian Fury? He's a rep for Lakeshore.
Brian Fury?
Yeah.
I mean, he might be an off-premise rep.
Oh, okay.
So I'm on-premise. We handle the bars and restaurants. The off-premise handles like liquor stores and grocery stores.
Yeah, he must be off-premise then, because he's mainly Evanston area. He said he knew you.
That's the reason why I don't know him. If he handles Evanston, he's out of Arlington Heights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got 3 warehouses. Arlington Heights, down on 4300 Halstead, which was the old annex to the old International Amphitheater. And then we've got one in Bloomington.
Oh, okay.
So I've probably seen him at a big to-do where everybody gets together, and has a huge like meeting at like Joe's on Weed Street or Club City in Rosemont. But there's so many people in our company. It's hard to know everybody.
For sure.
Anyway,
Doug,
how about this fucking baseball?
Doug, I'm a bachelor tonight. I've got an empty house here.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with yourself?
He's gonna run around naked and rub his ass on things.
Unlike Sean, I'm not going to do anything out of the ordinary.
You're not gonna get busted for masturbating.
That's what he says. All right, so at a glance, we've got McBride's here in red. That means it's new.
Boned up the butt.
New Buddha Kings. Zotti's still lucky laggards, and then Spear is way up in games, and Let's Play's way under, even more under than the McBride. So that's new. Daddies are our new middle grounders.
Yeah, I gotta shed some games at corner infield. That's the only thing I've got a problem with right
Shift
now.
them around.
I'll
And,
take your corner infielders.
You want Nate? You want Nathaniel Lowe?
I gotta, yeah, maybe. I
He's
gotta
ranked
look.
number 17 right now.
I mean, I really don't need corner infielders. I'm just kidding. I got more than enough to deal with.
Jeff's got 3 good ones that I can
Yeah.
Stop
name,
fucking
right?
with me, man.
Yandy, Yandy, Devers, and Nathaniel Lowe. So that's pretty good.
I might be interested in Devers for sure.
Oh no, I got him to keep him.
Yeah.
Unless you want to give me Ellie De Cruz for him.
Plus 177. Ooh, that.
Yeah, IP overage. Yeah, McBride's.
Yeah, you're not going to have any pitching for the last month.
Let's
Yeah, I'll have
Play's in the best shape.
I'm gonna be in last probably, but
Weekend Warrior was the dads. They went from 2-4 to 5-1, which is good.
Woohoo!
Spear went from going on pace for the 6-0 to a 4-2. 4-2 is not bad, but not when you're had a 6-0 in your sights. And then lucky hitting is McBride's now by 25 points. So that would be approaching a win.
You had a lucky hitting, and then you still went 0-6 this week.
Dads are still the unlucky BABIP guys and hitting, and then this is all the same too. Gaggers are the lucky BABIP pitching, and Satchel is way under unlucky BABIP pitching. So that is like 3-win territory there. So,
So how many other people are like in the plus hundreds for IP? Just out of curiosity.
I'm close. I think I'm in like 90 or something like that.
So, yeah, we got 109 for Knockers and 106 for Bizzati. So yeah, you think they used to have a lot of company up here, but now
I mean, everybody's over.
Everybody's over.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: if it was moves that was that number, you'd be the paging Dr. Satchel of innings pitched.
Yeah.
Daddies have the least points per inning pitched if you take out saves and holds.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
1.8. So.
I've actually had pretty good relief pitching this year. It's like a shocking because usually that sucks for me every year.
Let's see.
I feel like my relievers have been okay. I mean, they're not, Duran's pretty good. Rogers, I'm not complaining about. Kimbrel has been.
You're at
decent.
232 save and hold points, and that ranks you 7th.
In the middle. Yeah, not that great.
Yes. That's the dads. Yeah. McBride's 215, so you're 8th in save hold points.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right.
I like the set it and forget it approach to relievers. I don't have the patience to dig deep for that shit.
I always keep an extra reliever on in case I got a guy that's not playing that day.
Yeah.
So predicted top 4 is Sombreros are predicted for 3rd and Spear. So Let's Plays off of this. They must be 5th. We'll look at that in a second. And then the players of the week, Gags had Will Smith, the catcher, and Spear had Freddie Freeman and Alex Kirilloff. Daddies had Ketel Marte, their
brand new
trade target, and Luis Medina.
Picked up the free agent wire.
Funky Cole Medina.
And, Aaron Nola for Let's Play, and Felix Bautista for the Cows. So that's the players of the week. And we'll take a look at Doug's team here.
Kind of middle of the road all the way through.
So Baked, your hitting's right in the middle. Most things here. Weighted on base, runs per game, and OPS are all 6. So you're right in the middle hitting, and your pitching is near the middle, but I guess slightly below average. But it's tough to say. Your ERA is 4th, your FIP is 8th, and your predicted runs per game is 7th. So yeah, pretty middle of the road. Not the stark contrast that we saw with like Bizzati Bizzetti's hitting and his pitching, and then Knocker's kind of the opposite, right? Bad pitching and pretty good hitting. So, all right, and
Had a
then
couple failed trades this week. I tried to trade Nathaniel Lowe to Hack Wilson for Brandon Nimmo. That didn't work. And then I tried to trade him to Chris for Randy Arozarena, but Chris calls him Randy Rice-A-Roni. And he wants cheap pitching. So
he wants
and the
cheap
cheap
pitching. Huh?
yeah, the cheap pitching I had, I didn't really want to part with. I'd be like Justin Steele, Kramer, even like Zach Gallen's like $3.
I was happy to make a trade with you because I don't think I might have one more trade I'm going to do, but I think I would do it much closer to the deadline. So
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't love trading, to be honest with you. And I mean, if as long as it's like an even deal or it benefits both parties, that's great. But I always feel like some people are like snake
Geisters?
salesmen, huh?
Snake oil sales?
Yeah. It's like, hey, I get this shiny new toy here, have at it. And I just want
Hey.
your best guys. Nothing, that's it. I just want your best guys.
I always try to put a fair trade out there because I don't want to sit there and go back and forth for a fucking day and a half. You know? Just let's get this shit done. I'm giving you good value for good value. If you don't want to do it, fine, but I'm not going to sit there and just you want to make a counter offer, come back with a counter offer. Depending on what your first counter offer is, I can tell or not whether or not there's going to be a deal made. Because if I put out a trade that I think is pretty fair, then you come back with like 3 guys that are mediocre or young that are just like for instance, I put an offer out there and I got a guy who's ranked like 20 at the time for a pitcher who's ranked like 40, and they've got similar points, but then the person comes back to me with like 3 guys that are like ranked around 300 to 500, going, oh, they're going to be great down the road. Well, guess what? If I take that trade, I got to drop 2 fucking guys
right.
that I like better. So why the fuck would I do that? So that's kind of the.
Yeah. I don't know what percentage of trades I accept, but it's pretty low. I think for all of us, it's pretty. It's got to be less than 20%. Maybe it's I don't know what it is, 10%, 15%. But
yeah.
If I do like a trade, like even if it's just like even in my mind, I'll accept it because the guy went to all the trouble of putting together the deal. And
you don't necessarily have to accept it if you like your guy better. If so, then just.
Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it if I don't like it. But I'm saying even if it's just like really even, I'll go ahead and do it. And I know there's like, I don't know, it's like scary, right? You don't want to make a mistake, but I just realized I'm not going to be fearful of making mistakes. I'm just going to do what I think makes sense. And,
well, for me, I mean, I was so far down in the standings. It's like, okay, if I make mistakes, so fucking what? I made a mistake all fucking year.
Yeah. And I think I'm better at not caring what everybody else's perception is going to be. You know what I mean? So,
I think it matters more the higher, if you're a buyer as opposed to a seller, and you're up there and you're in the money. Yes, that's going to make you nervous. But if you're down where I was and you have fucking nothing to lose, it's a lot easier to do it. And I'm just like, hell, I had fucking Alonso for what, 5 fucking years? And finally, I'm just like, you know what? I haven't won with him. So I might as well send him off to somebody who likes him and get something back for him and just, use that money down the road. Ooh, a cat.
Yeah, that's Arya.
Is he over there showing her your butthole?
Yeah, but I got the bum.
Yeah, they love doing that. They'll just walk right in front of you and just wink at you.
Yep. No, she's a nice cat, but she's like socially awkward, so she doesn't like people too much except for me. But
how about the
everybody
kids?
likes Doug.
Not really. She doesn't like anybody except for me, pretty much.
A cat with a tuxedo on.
Yeah, she got the little the white boots and the hanky on, and cute cat.
Yeah.
She's.
I like cats, but I'm allergic to them.
Kitty. Hey
It's funny
man,
with it's funny with Alonso because he's a Met and he's a good player, but I just think he's sort of a buffoon, and he's never been one of my favorites. But he is on my team now, and maybe I'll have a better relationship with him now. So we'll see.
Yeah, you gotta have something to root.
First basemen, they're funny dudes, you know. Do you spend a lot of money on first baseman in fantasy? I mean, typically,
He's about to.
yeah, right. I mean, typically they're good producers. They're high volume number guys, but you know, I feel like the standard deviation is like all first basemen are high production guys. You know what I mean? They hit for power. They take walks. They don't steal. It's just it's a basic position.
Yeah, in order for you to have, you know, a high dollar value, you got to really be a bopper. You know, you can't just put up decent numbers. That's that's what's so nice about. That's why I love catchers so much, because like, you know, you hit 260 and have like 18 homers. That's pretty good. Catcher.
Yeah.
Well, first base, you're not even going to get the starting job.
You know? Well, let's put it this way: Pete Alonso's $50 as a keeper next year, and that's a pretty good value for a guy that can damn near. He could put up 55 home runs next year. You never know. I mean, he's that type of guy.
Yeah,
he's just.
I mean, he's he's a Willie Stargell type guy. You know.
Yeah.
I could see me not keeping him next year, even though I made
that
trade.
Life, though.
You know what sucks is like for a few years now I've done that $11 thing on guys, and this year Diaz was one of the guys I was considering doing the 11. I was like, I'm just not gonna. Every time I do it, I you know, sort of get burned by it. Like I spent the extra 11, and then it doesn't help me any. You know, I don't keep the guy. But Yandy would be that guy. He would be at 13 this year, and then would have been 24 next year if I had done the 11 thing. So, but that's the only.
I think right now the way he's performing, if I made him 26 or whatever, he'd still be worth it.
Yeah, it'd be 29, right? Next year.
Is it 27 you had?
Yeah.
I think somebody takes him for 29. Hell, fucking Luis Arias. Well, he went for 10 this year. Thought he went for more than that. Well, I wanted to keep him, but I didn't have enough money at the time, I think.
So I'm kind of in a weird spot. The Gaggers are in a weird spot because I'm actually looking toward next year with my decisions, even though I'm in second.
Yeah.
I guess it would be different if I was, 3 games back of Satch, but I just don't see that I'm going to catch Satch. And I wouldn't even be surprised. Well, certainly it's much more likely that like Sombreros finishes ahead of me than I catch Satch. I think, we can see that it's like Satch is projected to win by 19 games.
But what if Satch's players all just fucking shit the bed at the same time and fucking all of a sudden have 3 0-6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I know.
And then you have 3 good weeks. I mean, you can make up some ground.
In the beginning of June, Jordan went down. And the Astros.
Well, he's about to come back, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying the Astros were certainly affected by that. But that's when Satch went on a 25-2 streak. So I think that was one of the things that made me go like, it's just not going to happen, And I've been based more or less a 500 team for a couple of months.
Well, maybe Pete Alonso will take you over that edge, and you'll just start to click.
Me and the buffoon will rocket up the standings.
I like to call him a bear-foon.
Like a big old bear. I can spot the smart players, and Pete is not one of them. I don't mean like smart baseball player. I just mean smart person.
Did you guys see this the article? I think it was last week when Dave Winfield came out and he said that he could have been Shohei Ohtani or Shohei Ohtani.
Come on, lucky.
But they didn't let him pitch.
But the thing that's crazy is he was actually drafted as a pitcher by the Padres. And
well, it's probably true then.
he led Minnesota to the national championship game in the College World Series as a pitcher. But he said that back then they lacked the vision to let guys play both ways, and it was all about, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then I'm looking at Winfield. He got drafted in 3 different sports.
Yeah, baseball, football, basketball.
He got
didn't get drafted in hockey though.
He got drafted by 2 basketball teams. He got drafted by the Hawks in the NBA and by the Utah Stars in the ABA. Got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and he was the 4th pick overall as a pitcher for the Padres.
That's that's an amazing athlete right there.
That's unprecedented.
Why would Utah waste? Why would Utah waste that draft pick? Did they really think that he's going to sign with them? You know, of his 3 other choices.
Well, I mean, let's see. It was Utah Stars. That was a 6th-round pick. The Hawks in the NBA was a 5th-round pick, and the Vikings pick was like a 17th-round pick or something crazy like that. So they're just taking flyers on him. But I think everybody knew he was going to play baseball. But I mean, the guy probably could have pitched, right, and played first base. That wouldn't be that hard. You play first base on your days off. But he was a Hall of Fame outfielder. Yeah, crazy.
I know
Don Lynch was that way too. You know, the safety for Tampa that he runs San Francisco 49ers now. He was for Stanford, he was a safety, and he was also a starting pitcher. He actually started, he was supposed to be a quarterback. And Stanford said, well, they had Elway or something at the time, and he wasn't going to get to be quarterback. So they moved him to safety. And man, he was hitting people. And then Bill Walsh took over that team and brought Ronnie Lott over there. And Ronnie Lott told him, this is like, just watch this this interview. Ronnie Lott told him, when you see somebody, pretend there's 4 of them and hit all the way through all 4 of them.
Oh, that's perfect.
And he took that to heart, and boy, oh boy, did he just start laying motherfuckers out.
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad used to say kind of a similar thing. He's like, you're not hitting the front of the guy, you're hitting the back of him, you're hitting the soul of that person and knocking it the fuck out of their body. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's like somebody said, don't punch the guy in the face, punch through his face.
Right, yeah.
Boxing, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's classic old school stuff.
Yeah, see beyond the target.
So these predicted final standings, it's got McBride's in a lot of trouble. I'm assuming it's just from that IP overage. And Satch on top and just poised to increase his lead.
So the way it looks right now is we should be tied at the end of the season.
Who?
He's going to have 68 wins, and I should have 68 wins.
It's
they got me at 29 and 31.
So now it says that Knockers will finish in last, Hack next to last, and Daddy's 9th. But it's got McBride's slipping one more spot to 8th.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll take that to heart and just try to not use too many pitchers.
But you know, this does not assume, like if you have an underage like you do in games played, it doesn't assume that you'll make that up. So it uses the same underage extrapolated, to the rest of the year. So if you do make up a lot of games, but you'll outdo this, because the experience has been when a guy's under, he just stays under. It's through whatever. I don't know if it's lack of interest, like if they're not doing well. But
true. And plus, at the end of the year, it's hard to predict. I mean, yeah, it's a slog, that's for sure. But it's been definitely fun for me this year. I've enjoyed
Especially
it.
considering that you didn't make the draft and you're having to fucking on the fly kind of put together a team.
Well, in some ways, it was like a relief, to be honest with you. It's like, because sometimes you draft these players and you feel like they're part of your family, and you don't want to get rid of them, but I was just like moving guys in and out. If you're not doing good, you're gone. You know, I want somebody hot, I'll bring him in. Whoever's on a hot streak, I want them in. So, and I feel like the trade with Chris worked out pretty good for me, even though
Oh, damn right.
Alcantara has just been I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I mean,
He thought he was all that, and he didn't do his off-season training like he should have.
He threw a
maybe
lot of
not.
innings last year. I mean, maybe, I think the people are going to attribute it to that, right? Whether or not it's true.
Could be.
You know?
But he's still, I mean, if you look at the metrics and his pitches, they're doing the same things. He's just like not placing them in the right spot.
There might be something out there where he's tipping pitches,
Could be.
and people have caught on to it.
Is his catcher different? Do they got a different catcher in Miami this
That's a
year?
good question.
They had Stallings there last year too.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with him. The talent is there. He says he's doing the same things that he was doing last year. It's just that I don't know.
The results are different.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a few things here.
Okay.
Call-ups, injuries, and moves. As you saw, Sal Frelick just came up. Had a pretty good first game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. He what do we
Game-winning hit, right?
He went like 3 for 4. Well, actually, maybe 2 for 3 with a sacrifice. And
stole a base or two.
yeah, he was
second
all
and
over the
third,
place.
didn't he?
And he had 2 nice catches up against the wall.
Yeah. Pretty nice.
One of my guys, which made it easier for me to trade Alonso, was Encarnacion Strand for the Reds came up finally. And he has been a masher in the minor leagues. And he's carried it over. He's hitting in the majors too.
He's a good prospect.
You can see that the Reds, there's been rumors about India, that they'd be willing to trade India. I think the Orioles will go through the same thing. Like they're going to trade a prospect or two for a pitcher because I guess they must have just been drafting hitters because there's like hardly any, besides Grayson Rodriguez for the Orioles, there's I don't know of DL Hall, who I don't know if he's going to be anything anyway, but they've got the Orioles and Reds are both in the same similar position. They've got so many guys, and they're not even all up.
If the White Sox were smart, they would trade Giolito to the Reds and pick up India. I'm just saying
that could definitely work.
Bad move. I mean, India's a good player, and he's an on base machine. Doesn't have a ton of pop, but he can hit homers. But
Lance
got some guys in the pipeline that are pushing him out. I mean, they see Matt McClain as the actual second baseman, and they're going to bring. They could move Ellie De La Cruz over to shortstop. That's what they drafted him as.
Yeah.
So who fucking knows? The Braves are kicking the tires on a reuniting with Adam Duvall. I read that.
That's bad news for Ozuna.
Yeah. Well, he'd probably be more of a DH role, I would imagine.
But I mean,
is that what Ozuna's doing?
Ozuna's been getting full playing time. You bring Duvall in, and that's gone. So that'd be bad for the Gags.
That might be just a DH role. Arizona is interested in Giolito. That came out, and they've got a lot of young talent. So yeah, send them over there and get 3 players for them.
I think Lance Lynn's the kind of guy that the Orioles would have maybe been likely to trade for. Of course, he had a bad outing, right? His last outings.
Yeah. Genesis Cabrera got traded from the Cardinals to the Blue Jays. I don't know if you saw that. And speaking of another trade, this just happened the other day. Pierce Johnson got traded from Colorado to Atlanta. I hope that doesn't affect Iglesias, as they're both kind of closers. Wainwright is coming off the DL, or he is off the DL.
Pitching tonight, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then Ryu for the Toronto is soon to return. He's in a rehab assignment right now. And I actually picked him up and kept him on my IL. So we'll see what happens with him. Maybe he'll come back and be normal. maybe not.
That'd be normal.
Yeah. The Pirates are listening to offers on Bednar and Mitch Keller. We'll have to see what happens there. But if you have either of those players, it could change everything. Now here's something.
Bednar signed through next year though, so they don't have to do the Bednar deal. You know.
No, but they might get a little bit more for him because he's pretty valuable closer right now. He's
they'll
at
definitely get
like
more
a
for him.
1.98 ERA. Oh, he's pretty hot right now.
Yeah, his strikeouts and walks are stellar. You know.
All right, so across the pond in KBO land, Lee Jung-hoo, who is supposed to be coming to the National League or the Major League next year. He's only 24 years old.
Who's coming over to the?
Lee Jung-hoon or Lee Jung-hoo, not to be confused with his brother Lee Jung what or Lee Jung where.
Who's coming to America next year? Who?
It's supposed to be a kid named
Who's
Lee
coming to America next year?
Jung-hoo.
Who?
Who?
The guy who's coming to MLB next year.
No, who's on third?
The name of the man that's coming over to MLB next year. Who?
Lee Jung-hoo.
Oh man.
What's the name of the guy that's coming over to MLB next year?
No, Lee Jung-hoo is the guy. Lee Jung-what is his brother. But he had season ending ankle injury at 24 years old, so he's probably doomed for a while. I know. I just put him on there just to make those fucking jokes and set you up a little bit.
Hey man, my shoulder is really bothering me. I gotta tap out, but before I do, Lou, I just want to say this to you. Can you see this? Is it even?
You can see it on the left, Doug.
Yeah, put a fucking green.
Oh,
put a green pennant up against the green screen and see if it shows up.
Yeah. That's the New York Jets pennant from like 1974. I ordered like all of them from Sears Roebuck catalog.
Oh wow!
Like $5, you know, and I got every team. They're all from the early 70s.
Yeah, those look good.
Those are pretty cool though.
Exciting times for your Jets this year. Could be, and you're on all that shit.
Well,
you got HBO.
They're following the Mets lead, you know. I mean, you bring in these high-priced guys, and only good things can happen, right?
Right.
You can only hope, right? All right, buddy. Guys, thanks a lot. Have a good night. And
you too. And that third book on the left, read that. It's really good.
The third book on the left?
Yeah, behind you.
I just read all of those books, by the way. These are not just for show.
I wrote half.
I bet you Chad has.
This is not Great Gatsby here.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right, you too, man. Take care.
See you, Doug.
Which one do I sound out of?
Good luck down the stretch.
Yeah, you too.
You know what? I can just drop you.
Thank you.
Remove.
Drop him like a nun's habit.
See you, buddy. All righty then. All right. Should I get through the rest of this list real quick?
Yeah.
Gabriel Marino, catcher for Arizona. He's on the 10-day. Nestor Cortez for the Yankees is starting his rehab assignment. He might be coming back soon. B.E.E.R. Torres has a hip issue. He might be going to the DL. Look for the Mets to be sellers. One thing I just said. Here's one thing. 70s baseball first baseman Mike Ivy. Remember him?
I do not.
Oh, yeah. He was the first baseman for San Diego and the Giants and a couple other teams. He just died at 70 years old.
I-V-E-E, or how do you spell it?
I-V-I-E.
I-V-I-E. No, I don't remember.
Ivy. Yeah. The Giants are interested in Verlander. So there's a possibility you might be losing him, but that's $40 million back on your payroll. Oh, you have Kalenic, don't you?
I don't have him, no.
Okay, somebody's got Kalenic. He just fucking broke his foot kicking a water cooler.
I saw that. Guys are still doing stupid shit like that.
I swear, man. Stupid.
When the Mets traded Seaver, they got 4 players. One of them was Pat Zachary, who was Rookie of the Year in '76.
Oh, I remember him.
It might have been co-rookie of the year or something like that. But he was, he was good. He looked good, and he came out of a game and kicked dugout step, broke his toe or his ankle, something like that, and he never pitched well after that. I mean, could have been because of the injury or he just lost his momentum, but he never was shit after that.
Yeah.
So that was the one chance the Mets had. I was young and stupid, and I thought I loved Steve Henderson. He became my favorite player. But Steve Henderson was a nice little player, but he was like a 270, 14 homer left
He was
fielder.
he was a
I mean,
solid player. He wasn't too flashy, didn't go over the top or anything, but he was just a solid player. He was consistent.
yeah. I have a couple of pictures of from spring training. We went down.
Wasn't Steve Henderson and Dave Henderson on the same team for a little while? Same outfield.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but they also got Doug Flynn and Dan Norman, an outfielder. I don't even know if he made it to the majors, but Flynn was a Gold Glove second baseman. I think he did win the Gold Glove one year, but he hit like about 210 with no power. But Zachary, I mean, these guys are still doing that shit. Like what wasn't it Devin Williams that didn't he
yeah.
punch something and he got hurt right before the end of the year? I mean, what the fuck? Come on,
It's
man.
if you're passionate about the game, sometimes the anger comes out and you do stupid shit. I mean, there's plenty of people that do stupid shit. Look at Chris Sale fucked himself up, not long coming back after some other injury.
But I
Beat
don't
the
know,
shit
man.
out. Punching something, broke his hand.
Do some air tantrums or something. I mean, don't make contact and come on.
Yeah, just walk down the tunnel and scream at the top of your lungs and get it over with.
And these guys that like beat up things in the dugout look like such morons anyway. Like that idiot for the Pirates when he like went in, he was like,
Oh, was that
pushing the
Sean
water cooler.
Rodriguez?
What's
Yeah,
his name?
Sean Rodriguez.
Oh, that
Like he
guy's
was
a
like
total
doing body
hero.
punches to the thing, and he was a jackass. That guy,
He was
I
a
hated that
complete
guy.
ass. I mean,
Yeah.
I was like, if I was on camera doing that, I mean, that's embarrassing, man. You look like such a dork, like an
Yeah.
idiot, Like he's a tough man. He's beating up. Like, what do they think? Like the players in the other team are watching. Man, he really look at how he took out that water cooler. Ooh, that fucking guy, idiot.
Speaking of people that misbehave and get all angry and shit, Rendon. It sounds like his injury is worse than they thought. He might be out for the season. So
Ooh.
he went down with a bone bruise on his shin and been down for a while now.
Who is it?
And then they've looked at it. They did an MRI or did a deep dive into his shin injury, and it looks like he's got bleeding inside his shin bone.
Who are you talking about?
Anthony Rendon.
Oh,
Yeah. So he might be done for the year because it's much more serious injury than they had originally thought.
when Billy Epler signed Rendon to that money, the Mets took a look at Epler, who wasn't the GM anymore, and they said, like, that's our man. I want the guy that signed Rendon to that contract.
I want the guy that ruined the
come on, sign some guys for us. Well, how about Scherzer and Verlander for $86 million a year? All right, that sounds good. I mean,
a GM that's willing to overpay everybody that comes out there, and he just wants to buy a team. Yordan Alvarez, he's going to come back real soon. He's on a rehab assignment. For the Cardinals, Contreras has hip tightness, so he's day to day, and Arenado also with a foul ball off his leg. So that's two guys that went down for them. Corey Seager's on the 10-day. Oh, that doesn't help.
I saw that happen. Yeah, he was sliding into second.
Is that another paging Dr. Satchel?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was sliding into second, and the way he reacted, he immediately came out the field and he was in pain. It looked worse. It looked like
Really?
maybe he broke his thumb or something like that, but he didn't. So
Thank God for that.
All things considered.
Either way, he's probably going to be out 4 to 6 weeks if it's like an ankle.
No, it was his thumb.
Oh, is his thumb?
Yeah,
oh,
it was.
Shit. How the fuck is he going to hit?
Second. Also,
he wasn't wearing the oven mitt, huh?
Also, he was it was a double. He also stretched a single into a double unsuccessfully, and they were down by 3 or 4 runs. I mean, it was a stupid decision. He gets thrown out, and then he looks like maybe he broke his thumb. I mean, it's like it was just if you're a Rangers fan watching it, you would have been like, "Oh my god!"
Here we go.
So
All
he
right,
might
got a
not be
couple
out
more
that
here.
long.
Jose Trevino is out for the year, Yankees catcher, so you're not going to be able to pick him up off the waiver wire anytime soon. He's got a wrist surgery going on. That's not good. And here's an interesting one. Trevor Story is starting a rehab assignment. So that is a paging Dr. Satchel guy. So if he loses Corey Seager for any amount of time, he's got Story to fill in.
But what are they saying about Seager? Because I thought it was good news that he wasn't going to miss much time. If it's just a
Yeah.
sprained thumb,
Let's see. I can go back and find the article. Which is MLB rumors.
because watching it as it happened, I was like, "Oh, that is not good," because he just immediately came out and he was in pain, and I thought he broke his thumb.
All right. They announced Corey Seager has been placed on a 10-day due to a right thumb sprain. Sam Huff was called up from AAA to take Seager's spot on the active roster. MRI didn't reveal any structural damage. Seager told Jeff Wilson and other reporters, so he is hopeful for a return in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah,
So if it goes that way,
he might have a low threshold for pain because the way he was reacting, I was like, I think he broke his thumb.
yeah. Well, I mean, you ever play basketball and that sucker hits you on the end of the thumb and then bends your thumb back a little bit? That fucking smarts. But it doesn't break it. You just stretched it and pulled it out of fucking shit. Here's something that here's a name in baseball right now that I love. The A's shut down pitcher Richard Dick Lovelady.
Richard Lovelady.
Richard Lovelady. What a name. Don't know who the fuck he is, but I saw that name and I had to share.
Yeah. He's
Then
been
last
around
but
for a
not
while.
least, what do you think's going to happen with Ohtani? Is all I'm going to ask. That's my last thing here. What do you think goes? Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he stays where he's at? I think he stays where he's at. I don't think the Angels are going to draw this out and try to re-sign him. They're going to throw a fuck ton of money at him after the season. I just don't know if he wants to stay there.
I concur. I think I don't think they're going to trade him.
I don't think anybody's
We
going
both
to give
think
up.
that he's not going to be traded, so that means that he probably will.
I don't think he wants to sign with anybody this year, a long extension, because he's going to feel out the free agent market. And I don't think anybody out there is going to give the Angels what they want for a rental. Not knowing that, you're not going to give away 6 of your best prospects or 4 of your best prospects and 2 major league ready fucking studs or good players to rent him for a little bit. They're going to want him to sign an extension right away. I don't think he's going to do that.
I mean,
I think he wants to see what the market has
the
for him.
thought is if you bring him in and it's you might be more likely to be able to sign him in the offseason or something. But I think he's just.
Are you willing to sell the
Coast.
farm to try to maybe win a World Series, which is not guaranteed?
But as a business decision, I think that the Angels are probably going to keep him because they're close in the wild card, and if they trade Ohtani, it just deflates the whole excitement of the season. And they still have Trout to you want to. Do you want Trout to?
Trout's always hurt though. He's hurt now.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you get rid of Ohtani, then it's telling Trout like, okay, it's just never going to happen for you, man. So.
Well, if Ohtani leaves, I think Trout's going to get traded. And I think they start over. But if you trade Ohtani right now, you might as well trade Trout along with him. To be honest with you, and really fucking stock up for the future. I mean, think of the prospects you could get and really stock your system and just rebuild. Just tear it down and blow it over.
And just, trade Rendon to the Mets for Beatty. The Mets will do it.
Yeah.
Mets will be like,
they'll take the full salary on.
$35 million? That's jump change. Oh, yeah. Yeah, bring him over.
Is Rendon $35 million?
Yeah, I think it's like 35.
Jesus fucking Christ, what a dumb contract that was. He wasn't even worth 35 million when he hit the free agent market.
He did. Epler did that, and the Mets still brought him in. Like, that's our man. That's who we want.
Oh,
They drive me fucking crazy.
that's yeah, that's insane. That's fucking insane.
Well, hopefully the Mets will get Stearns, the guy that retired from the Brewers, and even if they keep Epler around, he won't have the decision-making ability that he.
You know what the Mets need to do? They need to woo Theo Epstein. They need to get him in there.
Yeah, I know
And
that's
he
one
will.
of the guys I've been looking at, but I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna. I think it's Stearns is more likely because he's from. I think he's from Queens or something. He's a Mets fan. But so we'll see. He retired from the Brewers, so there won't be any tampering or that thing where it can't be a sideways move. It has to be a move up when you.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't know. Or maybe Stearns is really honest. Maybe he really does want to spend time with his family, and he's got enough money put away. So you seeing all this?
Yeah, Acuna's been up there the whole time. And
Otani's
then
moving a little
Otani.
closer. See here in Freeman too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corbin Carroll. So some of Sombrero's young guys are coming.
Corbin Carroll, what? He is down just by hands and he's rookie of the year. There ain't no doubt about it. I don't think there's anybody that comes close to him being rookie of the year of the National League. Now, who would be your AL rookie of the year?
Well, I'd say if Francisco Alvarez goes on a home run tear between now, then it could get interesting. But I think you're right.
I don't think so. I think Corbin Carroll's got it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else comes close. But who would be the AL rookie of the year? Who have you seen on the AL side that's been worthy of rookie of the year?
I can't think. I can't think of it. Give me some names. I can't think.
Well, you got Gunnar Henderson is out there.
Okay.
Who else? There's really not too many flashy rookies in the American League. It's mostly National League right now. I mean, Elly De La Cruz, Corbin Carroll.
These are nice. These are nice, huh? Back to back, Adolis and Juan Soto.
Yeah.
So Soto, slow start.
Slow start, but he's kind of making up time.
Now he's up. It's ranked 7th, right? So
if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see Nathaniel Lowe around 17, 18.
And Yelich in the top 10. That's nice to see. I mean, he's like,
yeah, I swear to God, I didn't expect that, or else I would have probably held on to him and not fucking dropped him like I did.
I think.
But nice pickup by Gambler.
If my memory's not faulty, I don't think he started off like gangbusters. I think he started off looking like he's going to be the same guy from the past few years.
Well, click on the little box there. He's not actually blowing up his average, and he doesn't have a whole lot of home runs. I mean, where he's getting it, he's got more stolen bases, he's got a lot of walks, and he's got doubles and runs.
He's got 23 doubles. Where's stolen?
Couple triples.
Yeah, 21 stolen bases. That's nice.
But he's striking out at 25% clip, almost a little bit less.
Tucker for the knockers. That's who they traded for.
Yeah.
And Luis
he's still
Robert,
up there.
Big Luis Robert, just peeking over the top of the page here, top of the half page.
Can you scroll down just a little bit more? Let's see the top 25 actually, if you could, before you.
Oh, there's why you want it, because you want to see Cattell.
I want to see what else we got down there. There's Marte,
Jose Ramirez, Lane Thomas for Hack.
What a year! What a year he's having, huh?
Austin Riley for Hack.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Lowe. Here's the guy that you've been pitching. So
got Devers right next to him. So
here.
I tried to get Randy Rice-A-Roni, but for Lowe, I thought it'd be kind of an even trade. Plus, He's got a couple guys at first base that are suspect, but it didn't work out. So be it.
The Rosarena is a keeper, and Nathaniel Lowe is retainable,
Yeah.
right? So, and Albies for the Cows, and Goldschmidt also for Satch. Christian Walker is one of.
What a year by Christian Walker. Everybody's
Yeah.
been waiting for that.
He is a quality first baseman. I mean, like, he's a good fielder. Didn't he win the Gold Glove last year?
I can't remember.
And
But
he's
now that he's got some pieces around him with these young guys
Rapid.
coming up, I mean, it's actually worked out for him.
Yeah, so Sean was talking about that he should have used the $11 thing on maybe Rushman, because he's got a lot of young guys. He's probably not going to keep them all. So
Not gonna be able to keep him all after a while.
yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Justin Turner in the top 25. That's nice.
Jesus Christ, that guy! I swear to God, he just doesn't go away.
Yeah, the Mets let him go, and from that moment on, he was a stud, and he's still doing all right.
Well, he was a stud that last year with the Mets, and
Not
they
that I
didn't
remember.
recognize that it wasn't. They thought it was a flash in the pan season, and they didn't realize he came into his own.
I don't
And then they
remember
sent him over to
that.
the Dodgers, and he kept going and going and going.
I don't remember that he had a good year with the Mets before he left.
No, he had a pretty decent year in the last year he was with the Mets. I mean, he came up with some clutch shit.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Let's see if we can see it.
That was back when they were playing the Cubs in the playoffs. Back in like 2015.
Nabbit. All right, so his last year at the Mets was like a little
Was his
over
only
half
year
a
with the Mets,
season.
really. He came up late, but he 280.
Little over half a season, he had a 700 OPS. And then look at, he goes to the Dodgers, almost 900, 860, 830, 950, 920, 880. Look at that. With the Mets, 700,
Yeah.
decent for utility infielder, but not like this. All right. So,
Yeah.
and he's doing
The
like
Dodgers have a way of developing people.
How can I get out of here?
And he's even still playing well. I mean, like, what? He's fucking 39 years old. Well, he will be 39 years old in November. 38.
I shouldn't have gone.
What happened?
Well, I don't know how to get out of that. When I get back into the thing I had. What is all this stuff? Oh, these are bookmarks. That's not.
Go back over to the other tab there. It's players list.
I can't see this top thing, and it's like blocked now. No.
Stop your share and start over.
Oh yeah. There you go. Not just a hat rack, huh?
No, but I'm gonna hit the bathroom real quick. I need to get more ice for my drinks.
All right. Can you bring the camera with you into the bathroom or no? All right, we're gonna look at pictures now. Whew. Hey, Frank, are you there? Frank!
Watching me pee right now.
Roy? I like to take pictures of women making toilet.
Hey, Frankie. Say hi to Lou.
Hey, Frank!
Hi, buddy. It's only okay, yeah.
Roy?
You hear it, Tim?
Frankie!
He's talking to you.
Hey, Frank! Woohoo! Hey, buddy!
He's like, what the fuck? All right, pitching. Jesus Christ, Eovaldi. Look at this. This is weird. Okay, just in years before, you usually had like 3 or 4 pitchers that were in the top 15. Okay, this year the first pitcher is at 20.
Yeah, that'll get better next
Unbelievable.
year.
And it's like, I mean, you think about how many pitchers you got in the top 100. It's not many.
I think the thing is, it's like some of these guys didn't go for very much. Vivaldi,
No.
Stroman. I don't think Stroman
Who's
went
going to
much,
pay
right?
Eovaldi like $20? Who's going to do that? Nobody. You know, and think about Eovaldi though, with the ups and downs he's had. Who would think he'd be at the top of the list? I mean, he was kind of like for a while there. He's like, okay, he had a lot of promise, but he was kind of a mediocre pitcher.
I
And
think it's
now all of a
more.
sudden,
I think it's more that he just hasn't stayed healthy. And look,
that too.
he's day to day right now. So would it be surprising to anybody if he goes on the IL or something like that? So
My guess is Garrett Cole's at the top next week.
yeah,
Because all it takes is one game,
yeah,
and they can jump like 20, 15, 20, spots.
But pride of the daddies, Gallon
Yeah, I love that dude.
and Marcus Stroman for Spear, Framber
Yep.
for the Cows,
Mm-hmm.
Logan Webb for Satch,
That's surprising.
along with Spencer Strider. Just at the top.
Spencer Strider is actually, he's down there at 79. He's got like the most Ks of anybody in the league right now.
Well, I did the calculator.
And 11 wins. So how the fuck is he at 79?
Last week we were 56% of the way through, and I did the math, and he was on pace for 303 strikeouts.
Crazy.
300 strikeout season. I mean, obviously, I don't even know if he's still there now.
So I was trying to give Nathaniel Lowe, who's ranked at 17, for Corbin Burns, who is ranked 71. Nathaniel Lowe has 334 points he's got this year. Corbin Burns has got 286. Don't know, man. Don't know.
Well, I guess he figures he can get Lowe's production from a lot of guys. I don't know. Burns, he'd be selling low, right? I mean,
yeah,
so to speak. I didn't mean like that, but
I guess he's got some other people that can play first base, but still, I mean,
this is
pretty fair trade if you ask me.
This is still a good year for a beer leaguer, but it's disappointing, right? There's probably some people that thought maybe Burns would be the top guy, or certainly top.
Nobody would have thought Zach Eflin would have been above him.
No.
Or for that matter, Nathan Eovaldi.
But when the Rays went ahead and signed Eflin to maybe their largest free agent contract ever, I mean, an outside free agent, that should give everybody pause, right? Oh, geez.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Tampa Bay has one of the best development teams there of any team in the league. I mean, the guys they can, especially with pitching, they got some of the best pitching coaches you can ask for, and that's in the minors and majors.
I think Eflin always had the ability, and people recognize that, but he just wasn't staying healthy.
No, that's another thing.
And that's what.
Well, that's pitchers though. I mean, how many of these pitchers have never been down for anything? I mean, they're all always going up and down. George Kirby, maybe. He's fairly new though.
Yeah.
Luzardo's been hurt. Eflin's been hurt. Corbin Burns has been hurt. Gossman's been hurt. Ryder, no, he's a little new. McClanahan, I don't really know, but Logan Webb's been hurt. Valdez has gone down. Stroman's been down. Zach Gallen actually has stayed healthy, which is pretty nice. So, yeah, it's just the value of pitchers anymore is kind of like hit the rocks a little bit. No more are we going to get those $70 fucking Clayton Kershaw prices. You know what I mean? I just don't think they're there anymore. Kind of reminds me of football, where the running backs are now worth shit. I can get a running back that can do what you do for $3 million a year. Don't ask me for $10 million a year. And you can see that going on with Saquon Barkley right now. He
Yeah.
wants a shitload of money, and they're like, we don't pay running backs that anymore. But yet they take some of the most abuse. I mean, for the abuse that running backs get, they should get paid.
Well,
That's just
you're
me.
talking about, justice as
You're
opposed to
giving all to a quarterback that can't get hit anymore. All right, you're going to give $50 million to a quarterback who will get, if they get put on their ass, that guy's getting fined. But yet that running back that's beating his head into a line or running around and getting his knees taken out and shit, you're not going to pay him? It's so fucking whack now. Back to baseball.
But they should.
Wait a minute, what'd you just do?
It makes sense to draft a running back and use him up during his young years before you have to pay him, and then draft another one.
So what did you just do to change all the figures
This
here?
this is the theoretical Yahoo League with the new point system. So we saw that the top pitcher was 20th, right? Next,
Is that the real? That was the real ship. This is the theoretical.
so next year's point system, Garrett Cole would be 6th.
Okay.
So Eovaldi was 20th. He'd be 11th. And Cole, I don't know where he was, but he's below 20th, and now he'd be 6th. So it'll be a
And
little
just
more.
refresh my memory about like what extra points are we getting next year? Is it like
It's quality starts will be 4,
okay.
and wins will be worth 5 instead of 7. So it's
Okay.
wins are slightly less, but it makes up for it with the quality start. So
Yeah, that brings Stroman up quite a bit. Because Stroman's had a lot of quality starts this year. But you know what? It's very similar to what it was before, except that I'm seeing Chris Bassett up here now.
yeah,
I do like the quality start points. I think it's awesome.
yeah. I mean, it seems arbitrary, but when obviously saves and holds are arbitrary stats too. They have certain parameters. They're like a lead of 3 runs or less, and blah blah blah. All this kind of stuff.
But it's also going to reward starters who have bad bullpens. These guys go
Yeah,
6, 7 innings, and all of a sudden your bullpen blows it for you.
yeah.
And that's the thing I like about it, because it really shows the true value of the pitcher as opposed to what his team is adding to his shit. I mean,
Except if the bad bullpen is finishing up his inning for him, he's still going to get the earned run hit. But
yeah,
but
exactly.
if they come in after he's actually a new inning and they blow the game, yeah, this will help a little bit.
Yep.
It'll make the league it'll make your pitching a little less frustrating.
And then we're going to have more innings next year, right?
Yeah, more innings because we got the extra starter.
Okay.
So it'd be like 200.
We're taking one of the relievers back away. It's just 2 relievers,
No,
or we're just adding a starter.
Still 3 relievers. The idea was Zach suggested having just a pitching spot, because I guess there's a certain point where a guy doesn't qualify as an RP or an SP.
We're putting in a flex.
We're putting in a flex, which is basically another relief pitcher. I mean, I can't imagine a situation where somebody's going to you use that as a starting pitching slot.
Never know. You never know.
It doesn't make any sense, right? Because you have the RPs are the everyday guys, SPs are every 5 days, so you can you could get by with only 3 or 4 of those slots probably.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, shit, man. I think we're about an hour and a half in, and I've run out of shit to talk about. And our guest left.
Yeah, we'll just wrap it up here, and
I think so.
took a long time to get going too.
Yeah, before I start getting schnockered off these like Jameson and Diet Cokes and start slurring my words.
So I've got one more night after this, as this is my bachelor pad, so So Diane and two of the kids are in Illinois, and Sam's really never here. He comes here to shower, eat, and he's just been over at his lady's place.
How old's Sam now?
He's 22.
Yeah, well, you know what? When you're 22 years old, you don't want to hang around the house. You want to be out doing something or someone.
Yeah, we went to the Mets and White Sox game last Thursday. So,
Nice.
but I was reminded of
Was
why
it a was it a Mets winner or was it a White Sox winner?
White Sox won 6-2.
Oh, okay.
Mets had won the first two games of the series.
Was that the Sunday game?
It was a Thursday game.
Thursday.
It took us over 3 hours to drive home, and it just reminded me of why I just sit here on my comfy brown chair.
Is there a train that goes there?
There's a train, but it's like, I don't know. For New Haven, I think it's close to $40.
Wait a minute, you're in New Haven?
We're between New Haven and Hartford,
Gotcha. Okay.
closer to New Haven. But so we
How
drove.
far are you away from Newport, Rhode Island?
Hour and a half.
Yeah, that's where my dad, when he was in the Navy, and my mom had my older brother when he was just born. She moved out there, and they had like on-base housing and shit like that. And
In Rhode Island.
yeah, that was back in 1968. Before I was around. Then they moved back to Gary and had me after he got out of the military.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about your military stuff because you were in the Air Force, was it?
Yeah, from 88 to 91.
91. So were you in Desert Storm at all, or?
Support of it. Yeah. Wasn't actually in Iraq. Spent a little bit of time in Riyadh. Send planes up with bombs on them, they come back empty. But they were spending so much money in the war, and they had to pare down the forces and stuff like that and save some money because Bush was trying to get reelected. And we all know how that turned out. Clinton ended up getting his job in 92. So they came to me and said, "Are you going to reenlist?" I said, "No, I'm going to go to school. I got the GI Bill. I'm going to go to school." And they're like, "Okay, we're going to let you out in July instead of February then." I'm like, "Cool. Hell, I can get out of here, go home, and get ready for the first semester in August.
You didn't get to spend July in Riyadh. I mean, come on, it's everybody's dream.
No, that place sucked. But you'd be surprised once you leave the United States and go to some of these other countries what the air smells like there. I mean, when I got to South Korea, I got off that plane, it smelled like a fart. And I'm not saying anything against the South Korean people. I loved it. I actually had a great time in South Korea. The people were so nice. The food was really good. But they have a different way of doing their sewage, and there was like open ditch, like they call them binge ditches. And their industry was a little bit dirty, so they didn't have the same air quality as we did. So, to be honest with you, like for the first couple months, I mean, you pull your nose and there's like dirt in your boogers, because it's just that like the emissions over there was kind of fucked up.
It's like living
And
near
then the
Giant
smell you
Stadium
got used to, but as soon as you walked off that plane, you kind of got this sulfur, kind of funky ass shit smell.
It
And I
sounds
was
good.
like, holy shit, I'm going to be here for a fucking year. And I'm just like, wah, wah, you just got that. Ugh. But after about 3 days, you stop smelling it. And it's the weirdest thing in the world. But you do have a lot of dirt in your boogers. And it was, don't ever fall in a binge ditch. And the other thing was the first time I went into a bar, they had like unisex bathrooms. And over there, they had like kind of like strip clubs, but they weren't strip clubs because they didn't strip. The girls just got up there and danced in a bikini. And then the other thing was the groups of guys would come in, like the guys that work together would come into these bars too. And you know how when you go to a club in America, there was like all the girls would get up and dance together, you know, because the guys really didn't want to dance with them. You know, there's a lot of guys who just don't dance. The girlfriends get together and they go out on the dance floor and they'll dance together and stuff. The guys over there did that shit. It was like all these work buddies would get together and then some song would come on and they'd all run out there and they'd dance together and just like, you know, talking out there and just dancing and shit. I just found it just strange, you know. It was definitely a culture shock. And but when I was getting back to the bathroom thing, um, you know, the girl would be up on stage and she's dancing in a bikini and doing her fucking thing, and you know, they wouldn't get nude or anything like that. There was laws against that. You know, it's just like they just didn't want the obscenity, the indecency of it all, and it's fine. You know, it's fine. And so I'm in the bathroom taking a leak, and basically, when you're taking a piss in the bathroom in Korea, there's a hole in the floor, and you aim for it. Okay, and that goes out a pipe, which goes out to that fucking ditch, and it just drains right into the ditch, and that goes out to the rice paddies, and then they fertilize their own shit. You know, they fertilize their own like rice paddies. So I'm in there kissing, and all of a sudden, one of the little dancer girls comes in and squats in the hole next to me. I look down, and she looks up to me and smiles, and I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here?" You know. So that's just, you know, that's the way it is. So,
So you got to
and if
tell
you
you
go
got
to
to
a
tell
barber
Norm.
shop that has two barber poles on each side of the building, it's a rub and tug.
You got to tell Norm about those ditches if he ever goes to South Korea. You know, because I could imagine like Norm like peeing on the side of the ditch and like slipping. Whoa!
Oh, dude, we've had guys going home that fell in those ditches, man. Had a couple guys pushed into them too, in dickheads, acting like assholes. Three guys will fucking take your ass and throw you in one.
I think that guy in Full Metal Jacket. I think that's one of the reasons he got so pissed because
But I tell you
they
what,
had
though,
pushed him into a ditch.
there was some really good street food. Um, Yaki mandu, which is basically pot stickers, is what they call the yaki mandu, and they'd fry these fucking pot stickers and throw them in this bag that was kind of
Rocky
coated with like a
Mandu.
wax.
That's like somebody on Satch's NA squad, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I think he's an outfielder and a left fielder or some shit like that. Yaki mandu. Um, Oh, it was like just you know fried pot stickers, and they throw them in a bag with like a wax paper lining, like it's like a paper bag with wax paper lining, and then spray a bunch of fucking soy sauce in there. Man, you'd sit there and eat those like potato chips on the way back to the base. But the same woman that used to do those, her name was Miss Lee McDonald, and she would make these fucking smash burgers or basically burgers on this fucking flat top grill. And then she was putting like a fried egg on them. And that's the first time I've ever had a burger with a fried egg on it. This is back in like, granted, this is like back in '89. Now, do you remember ever eating a burger with a fried egg on it back in '89?
I don't think I've ever done it anyway.
No, it's unheard of. Now it's like there's any restaurant you go to, they've got a burger with a fried egg on it. It's just amazing. It's fucking great. But that was the first time I ever had that. And I was like, oh man, it's fucking good. We used to get like a couple of those and munch those on the way home at 3 o'clock. And well, actually, it's more like 1 o'clock in the morning because the bars closed at like their bars started to close at like 1:30. But oh, Korea, you're homesick for like the first 2 months until you actually understand what the fuck is going on, and then you have the time of your life. And it's just a cool country. I mean, South Korea is awesome.
Did you see any baseball? Could you go to a
No,
game?
at the time I did not. It was actually, you know, what I did see though was a lot of like Olympic stadiums and shit that happened in '88. So I got there a year
Yeah.
late, but the stadiums were still there, and we'd go by those and stuff, and they were just kind of sitting there. I never saw anything going on there. You know, the one thing I did notice though is like the safety on the roads was crazy. Those people drive like maniacs here, and there's it's stupid the way people are. I mean, it's just you know I saw a guy get hit by a car. He was riding a bike down the middle of the highway and he got clipped. And he went flying through the air. I was in a cab going to Osan from Suwon. That's basically a half an hour drive. And he got hit and he landed right next to my door and he wasn't moving. And he was like, like one of those, like, he's dead impact. And I was just like, oh, that's like the first time I've ever seen somebody like killed in front of me. And that was pretty gross. So, yeah, the safety aspect of it, yeah, pretty fucked up.
I had a good friend who was born in Korea. He was actually in the beer league. His name is Kwan. He I forgot when he left the league, but it was probably around late '90s or 2000. But probably when I left for 1 year. But
Was it 2020 Quan?
he used to drive with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and he was sorry, Kwan. I know he'll never see this, but
So he's probably driving a clutch over in fucking Korea and shit.
it was tough to drive with him because like I'm a guy that like I only use the brake. I try to use the brake like I try not to use the brake. As little as possible. I use the brake, and he was
Yeah,
using
because
the
that shit
brake like
costs money.
he was using the brake like every I don't know 5 or 10 seconds. It was tough to like
Did he rock you to
the way he
sleep?
drove. You know,
Well,
yeah.
Quan needs some driving lessons here. No, I couldn't do that. But you know what? The funny thing is I drive a Kia now.
Kia, yeah.
I mean, that's all I saw. There were like Kia trucks and Daewoo and Hyundais. And it's funny that none of those cars were in the United States back when I was in Korea. And the minute I came back to the United States, I mean, Hyundai was the first one to show up. I mean, they showed up right after I got back to the States. And then Kia was not long afterwards. Now, Daewoo, I haven't seen any Daewoos around here. If they are, and Daewoo was a big, big car company over there.
I've been liking some Hyundais for I don't know 15 years now, at least maybe yeah, I'd say about 15 years.
Yeah,
Diane took a ride in a Hyundai when she bought a Honda Civic, and this is around 1990. And I have this theory now that this is why you see old people so loyal to these brands that don't make sense to
they
younger
run
people.
forever.
Well, I mean, like I think you grow attached to a brand like a Buick. Like, what young person has any attachment to a Buick now? But I think it's because like when Diane drove a Hyundai, she said it was like I was in like a like driving in like a aluminum can or something. She just felt
Yeah,
it was so bad. But they're not like that now. But Diane, I'll bet you will never have a Hyundai because of that experience. But that's what I mean. Like the Japanese cars, I think were probably considered crap for a long time until all of a sudden they were making better cars than more reliable cars than America was. So but I
yeah.
think if you're old, you're going to keep driving your Buick, your Oldsmobile, whatever, whatever, still have the Cadillacs. I mean,
Let's put it this way. Probably the last 15 to 18 years, I've been driving Mopar cars. You know, and like your Dodge Charger. I had two Dodge Chargers and I had a Jeep Cherokee. And I got the Jeep Cherokee because when I started doing the beer sales stuff, you kind of need an SUV to fit some like cases in and shit like that. It really wasn't conducive to the Dodge Charger. But living in Chicago, Dodge Chargers get fucked with. That car got broken into so many times. It got hit. It got its mirrors knocked off. I was just fucking tired of it. They're kind of a wide car. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why your mirrors get taken off. And after like paying for two of them, I figured out how to fix it myself and get the fucking mirrors off Amazon, which brought it down from $330 getting fixed at the dealership to $50. Um, but like switching over to this Kia, I swear to God, it's such a better made car. It drives better. It's just nice. It's way nicer than are American made cars. And I don't even know if this is made in the United States or if it's made over in Korea. I doubt it's made in Korea. I think it's probably made in the States somewhere. I think mine was made in Atlanta, Georgia, if I can remember right. But you know, fuck. I mean, even though it's a foreign owned company, it's still, you know, the cars are getting made over here,
Yeah.
but it's just put together better. It's better engineered and stuff. And it's just like, so glad I got this car. I mean, it's so much better. It's a Kia 2023 Kia Sportage.
I
And
remember.
even their other cars, I did my due diligence. And out of the top 5 SUVs on the market, 3 of them were Kias. It was a Telluride, Sorento, and then Sportage. Sportage was more in my price range, which is like that 30 to 40, depending on how ritzy you want to get. And then the Sorento is kind of like the 40 to 50, depending, or actually 35 to 50, depending on where you want to be. Telluride's over 50. I mean, that sucker's a schnazzy
See, I'm just not doing
mofo.
any of that. I can't. I'm so averse to paying more than, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to move up the ladder a little, but I really don't like to spend money on cars. You know.
Yeah, I know too. And it's just like, you know what really fucking is crazy to me? Pickup trucks are like, it's like buying a Mercedes or a BMW now.
Oh,
They're
it's
like, you
crazy.
can't get a fucking decent sized pickup truck for under 70,000.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy. I
what
mean,
the fuck is going on? You know, basically, no, what it is the car companies are trying to, they're like, oh, well, you're going to use this for work, so we're going to fucking juice your ass.
that's a
That's
good
what's
point,
going
man.
on with
I
that.
never thought about that. I mean, like, commercial uses.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's really not fair, and it's just not. You know, pickup trucks used to be just like any other car. They used to be the fucking same price, but for some fucking reason, these guys think, well, they're going to use it for work, so let's fuck the shit out of them and really make them pay.
Even your
Fuck
charger,
that.
I thought it was cool, right? So I was like looking at, I just for 1 minute, I looked at chargers online, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to pay that. And
Well, it's like the first one I bought was like 25 grand.
yeah. Plus, I don't think I could really pull off the charger. I mean, like, I think I'm just a Honda Civic kind of person, you know.
Oh, they're fun cars. I mean, it's you know, here the funny thing was I just had to take my Kia in for a couple of recalls, and there were minor recalls. I mean, one was like green or whatever could go out on you or whatever. It never did, but so last Thursday I took it in for recall. And they gave me a loaner, and that loaner was a 2013 Optima. And those are kind of small sedans and shit. And I'm sitting in that car, and I'm 6, you know, 3.5. I used to be 6'4". Due to 2 back surgeries, I probably lost about a half an inch to an inch.
I thought the half inch was the hair.
Yeah, it used to be. That's when I was 6'5.5". You know, pompadour, maybe 6'7".
Maybe that kid and play flat top, right?
Yeah, exactly. Um, but I was in this fucking car driving home, and my head was scraping the roof. I mean, it was just like it kept rubbing against the roof. And I'm like, how the fuck does anybody of any size buy one of these cars? You can't do it. It's just impossible. Oh, do you drive a Civic?
I drive an Accord. I had a Civic about
Same thing.
I had a Civic before we had 3 kids, and then we couldn't fit 3 car seats in the back seat of the Civic, but you could fit it in the Accord. It was
Three car seats. Jesus Christ, breathe a little faster, fucker.
yeah. We had 3
You
kids.
don't think one of those kids should have been out of that car seat by the time the other 2 were in there? I mean,
Well, it was 2001 to 2004 they were born. So
no shit. So
yeah, and I was so disappointed. We got like it was close, but you couldn't close that door, and I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to. So we sold my Civic to Diane's uncle, and I bought.
So let me ask you this question: were the stitches even healed before you start going back after that?
Was it?
I said, once you had one kid, were the stitches even was it even healed by the time you hit it again?
Stitches?
Yeah, it was like from childbirth. That's like boom, 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 real quick.
Yeah. Well, Diane had them all natural.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, but Sam was a big boy too. I think he was the biggest kid born in the hospital that week. When the lady called him Samson because she knew it that we were going to call him Sam.
I like to say that's why my head is round, because my older brother has a bigger head than me, and he kind of bored it out, and then I
Yeah,
just spit out like a watermelon seed. That was a much easier birth.
yeah. Diane had a tough time, and they said about 100 years ago, we probably would have lost them both.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like it was really tough.
Hmm.
So everybody that worked at the hospital, all the nurses and everything, doctors, it was routine to them. They knew, but like when Sam had such a tough time coming out, it took forever, and I knew it was getting worse because there's more and more people coming in the room. Used to just be like us and the nurse, and then it was like a whole bunch of people in there, and I knew.
All of a sudden they started sending out fucking radio signals like, need more help, come in here,
Yeah, they
more
were doing
hands.
forceps. There's like a vacuum and there was a bunch of stuff going on. So when he was born, he looked blue to me, and for a second or two, I thought that he was dead, and nobody would think to comfort me, like to let me know, like no, it's fine, because to them it was fine, But I looked at him and I thought we lost him, and of course then they did the thing where they spanked him and he was crying and everything was fine, but I was the
He
only
was
one in
just
the room.
purple.
I was the only one in the room that because I had no experience with it. This is my first time. I don't work in a hospital, so but
Once that
yeah,
water breaks, they got to kind of hold their breath. You know that, right?
yeah, but I could think she lost like 5 quarts of blood. Is that 5 pints? I'm sorry, not quarts. 5 pints of blood, something like that. So she was
Jesus.
she was like
She was
totally
probably pretty
pale and
pale.
white, and she fainted when the nurse was helping her. It was really tough. And they said, 100 years ago, so I would have
You
gone to
had to have
the
been
hospital.
shitting bricks.
Yeah, I would have gone to the hospital with my wife, and I would have left and lost them both. But anyways, it was fine. It was fine. He was just a big boy. What was he, 9, 9, 12, maybe something like that. And then Henry was actually even bigger. He was 9, 14, I think was 9, 15. I don't know,
I got
but
the ghost is closing my door again.
she had an easier time with Henry because that was her third kid. But yeah, it was
Hey,
all natural.
what are you doing with the door?
I don't know if an emergency cesarean was a possibility because he was so far along, he's so close,
Yeah,
or something like that. But yeah, it was whew, yeah, I forgot
I have
about
never
that.
been through that. Don't have any kids, but I can only imagine uh, you had to have been shitting your pants.
I just yeah, I was I when they brought him to the other place where they have all the babies. I was talking to this lady. She was the grandma, and her daughter had just given birth, and her daughter they were staying at a Ronald McDonald House because her daughter was had cancer, and I think it was pretty serious. I don't know if the daughter was going to be okay, but she was just so happy that she was able to give birth to the baby, and the baby was fine, I guess. But I remember she said to me, she said, like, good luck, or have a nice life or something, because we weren't going to see each other again. But I
Right.
always thought about that with the Ronald McDonald House. So whenever they collect, I always give. I usually don't give to charities unless it's like my thing, like I set it up and we do a monthly thing. But the Ronald McDonald House I always do because because I talked to that lady that night.
Like Chris, his daughter was premature and stuff like that. So I mean, Children's Memorial, I mean, they've done fundraisers for them. And she's doing great now. I mean, that girl is such a
I
beautiful
met her at
young
the
lady.
basement.
Yeah, she's just awesome. Mira, great kid. And she's going into high school, man.
Yeah,
High school. Crazy. This was back in like 2008.
I remember that the year that I stayed with Chris before the beer league auction. So that would have been 2008, I think.
Yeah, somewhere on there.
I remember I went out to breakfast with them, and they were kind of asking me questions about kids and stuff like that. And I remember thinking like, oh, so they're they're thinking of I think they're thinking of starting a family.
I think maybe she was born in 2008 or 2009.
I
I
think
can't remember.
she was born in 2009. I think
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
got pregnant very soon after that. That year when I stayed with them in March. She must have been pregnant. She must have gotten pregnant with her uh, probably a month or two later, right?
Well, they were living in the other house, I think, when she was born, because I remember going over to that house and she being just a baby and holding her at their house over in like Avondale Park. And man, oh man, long time, man.
Yeah,
It's
if she
crazy the
didn't,
way the years go. I swear to God, man, I feel like I feel like I've done a lot in the last 20 years, but I feel like it's gone by like a fucking that, I mean, so 20 more years after this, and I'm fucking toast, man. I'm probably in the ground. It's just like, holy shit, I'm 50 fucking 4 now. Fuck. Crazy. I've known Chris since I was like probably 24, 25. I've actually known Chris longer than I haven't known. That's
yeah,
crazy. I've been in the beer league for 16 fucking years, man. Does it seem like I've been in the beer league 16 years?
it seems like maybe 12. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, crazy shit. I think COVID fucked everything up. I mean, as far as like our time frame, and it was like 2 years off of our lives and shit, where we just had to deal with some stuff, and it's just like it kind of like I don't know, it just kind of messed up everything as far as like it's just like you can't get that time back. You know,
Yeah, I think 9/11
it
and
drove people nuts too.
9/11 and then COVID really did a job.
Yeah, if you think about it though, 9/11. I mean, that shit, that's fucking 22 years ago. It's like being in high school and talking about Vietnam. You know what I mean? And it's like if you look at it now, like okay, so Nirvana was 94 and shit, and it's like 94 and like Led Zeppelin, like that's 20 years before that. It's like so weird that like you would consider Nirvana classic rock nowadays, and Alice in Chains and all that fucking Seattle scene.
This station that we listened to at work, it said like some. They always say they say something like and we're going to play the music from the best decade for music of all time, the 1990s. And I was like, really? The 90s?
Eh,
you know?
I don't know if that's the best decade. I mean, all decades had their good shit. I can't say any of them's the best. I can say that the 2000s kind of blew. uh, but if you think about it, 90s, the early 90s hip hop was fucking phenomenal. The rock was fucking phenomenal. The underground music was pretty fucking slick. There was a lot of like trip hop and European techno that was really fucking cool. But I don't know. There was very cool shit going on in the 80s, and there was cool shit going on in the 70s, and the fucking 60s were badass too. So be a music fan and fucking don't say anything is the best and just be subjective, is what I say.
I think, be aware that like you're getting older too, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
the chance of me knowing the really cool stuff that's out there is very low, right? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm
I
only,
can't say the 2000s suck because there's a bunch of good shit that came in the 2000s and late 90s, 2000, like Queens of the Stone Age. Fucking awesome band. You know, Radiohead was like kind of mid 90s, early 90s throughout. Still great music throughout.
for me, like the late 80s through until Nirvana, I was not listening to much that was coming out anymore. I
The
mean,
one shit,
I
yeah,
had
the
like
one thing I
LL
didn't,
Cool J's first couple of CDs, but I mean, I didn't like what was going on with rock music, and that whole period I listened to Sinatra, Johnny Cash, Patsy Cline. I was like in my own world, and I was just
So you decided
ignoring
to
what was going on.
revert.
What?
You decided to revert.
Yeah, I just Hank Williams Senior.
But like in the 80s, like the mid to late 80s, I mean 120 minutes came on MTV. And that molded a lot of what I like, I mean, it's like,
Is that Kurt
holy
Loder?
shit,
What was
this is
that?
not all this fucking hairband stuff, and this is not like, this, that, and the other, and all this fucking lame ass fucking top 40 shit. It wasn't Kurt Loder, it was Dave Kendall was the first one, and then they moved on to some other fucking dude after that. Um, but it was just all the cool shit. It just introduced me to all this like what the college kids were listening to and underground stuff, you know? And I just remember seeing Knights of Ebb on there and Ministry for the first time and Nine Inch Nails and the Buzzcocks and Husker Du and fucking Madness and all these fucking cool ass British bands like Happy Mondays, fucking Stone Roses, the Charlatans UK, the Smiths, REM, all this shit was on that fucking show. And they had some really weird shit on there too that I was like, what the fuck is that? That this is a little too fucking strange, but for the most part, I mean, I embraced it. Like, I mean, Pixies, you know, it's just it molded a lot of my musical likes for a long fucking time. Hey, nice box of wine.
So what year
Is it
was
good
that?
for 6 weeks or what?
What?
That box of wine good for 6 weeks only?
I just opened it tonight, and that'll be
Well,
good. Okay,
it
I'll
says six
remember it.
weeks on the side of it.
I'll remember. I opened it tonight, and we'll see how many nights it takes me. I like it when it takes me 5 nights, but I think sometimes I go 4
Yeah.
or
But
3.
even when I was, going back to Korea, when I was in Korea, I had my mom send me out I had her record on video cassette. She goes, "What do you need out there?" I said, "You know what I'd really like? Could you just
Illuminati.
could you record 120 minutes for me and just send them out?"
Oh, that's nice.
And she did. She like recorded like 3 cassettes of 120 minutes, like 6 hours of music. And in a care package, I had these three VCR tapes. And then I'd pop them in my VCR in Korea and just watch what I was missing. It was really cool. And yeah, I just it's memories.
I was
And
gonna
then
say, I was gonna say about the you were talking about Vietnam, like for us, and then when we moved to this house, by coincidence, a guy that I played in Little League with lived across the street. They actually just moved a few months ago, but they were like this. This development was like built in like '99 or 2000. They were like an original. We are second homeowners in this house.
yeah,
But anyways, I told CJ when this is like at least 10 years ago, maybe longer. But I told her I used to play in Little League with our neighbor, the dad. And she's like, oh. And I was like, it's back in 1976, and we have a picture of the Little League team, from 1976. And I remember thinking about it like 1976 to CJ is 1938 to me.
yeah.
Oh my god! So it'd be like my dad's
Yeah,
driving
that's what I'm
around going
talking
like,
about.
"Yeah, I played the Little League team with this guy in 1938," and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like I don't have the right perspective, like how long ago the 70s or even the 80s seem like to my kids. You know what I mean? Like when I was starting to like music, what in the mid late 70s, the 1950s. Jesus Christ, that's oldies, man. I mean, there was a station that played 50s music on Saturday. I would listen to it, and it just was old music. But that was only like 20 years before, 25 years before,
What year were you born? 66, 67?
64.
64.
And the
Okay,
last year of the
so you
boomers.
were 19 years removed from World War II.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Crazy. fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You're Elizabeth's age.
She's older than you.
Well, you're a little bit older than her, I think. I don't think she was 64. I think she might be 65.
No.
But
She looked younger than me.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you know, it's so funny. My sister and
She can run farther distances than you. I know that for sure.
when Henry's band played a graduation party on June 17th, I remember because I posted on Facebook. But my sister and my brother-in-law and their two kids were there. We watched Henry's band play, and some mom that was there, her son plays the drums, so she was there too. And she knew that my sister and I were siblings, and she thought that Steffi was older than I was, and Steffi's 5 years younger. And I was like, that's like a question you don't. That's like something that you don't bring up. Maybe to a guy it doesn't matter, but like my sister, I don't think she liked that too much.
No.
Oh, I'm younger. I'm 5 years younger. So I was like, that's probably in the same category as asking like a woman, like, so are you pregnant? You don't ask that one.
Yeah. That's the girl who's got a beer gut if she's pregnant. That goes over like a fart in a fucking fart in a jar.
Diane worked with this lady. Diane was working for a photographer, and this lady was a stylist. And she was, she was like in her mid 40s, and she and her husband were trying to get pregnant, and she spent thousands of dollars. She couldn't do it. I don't know. She had like her last chance, and it didn't work out. So she was never going to have a kid. Her husband was he works on films and stuff like that. He's like the greenery guy. He's the guy that makes it seem like that time of year. I don't know. It's like this whole thing. And he worked on Forrest.
That design.
Yeah, he's a greenery. I think they call him a green guy or greenery guy. Anyways, but so she couldn't get pregnant, and she accepted it. She has nieces and nephews and things like that. So she developed some sort of I won't use her name, right? But she developed some sort of she had benign tumors in her stomach that made her stomach protrude.
Oh,
They were benign, like they just removed. They're not cancerous, but it did it made her have like a pot belly, small pot belly sort of. So when she was working on a Crate and Barrel shoot, this lady that worked for Crate and Barrel hadn't seen her for a while, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Because she knew that she'd been trying to get pregnant. She's like, "Oh my god, you're pregnant." She's like, "Oh no, you don't understand." She's like, "Oh yeah, really?" Like she thought she was kidding with her. Diane said it was the worst thing she's ever seen in her life, because this is like, first of all, it's pointing out that like I notice that your stomach is protruding, and then and
I'm
bring up
not
the fact,
listening to anything else than it's a baby.
yeah, I mean, like, and bring up the fact that you couldn't get pregnant. I mean, it was so awful. This lady should have just shut up right away, because that's an area that you don't go into until the information is bestowed upon you.
Yeah.
Oh god. So
He could have been just a heavy drinker.
So
of course, I met a few of those too.
But there's a term for that. I don't know what it is, but it's a real thing. Oh, that was terrible.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the military stuff. Like your experiences with that. So you were in there for 4 years.
Yeah. Well, not quite 4 years. It was like 3.5. Like they said, they gave me an early out to save money because they dropped a fuck ton of bombs in Iraq, and the budget was over under, and the first Bush wanted to be reelected, which he was fucking voted out in a landslide.
Read my lips. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, well, that guy was a jackass, to be honest with you, and so was his son, to be honest with you. But that was the family thing. The only reason why the son was in there is to finish off what the dad didn't finish, and God knows they tried to get Jeb in there too afterwards. So
Jeb.
Yeah, that's just yeah. So anyway, um, yeah, I mean, I had a great time. I met a lot of great people. Um, I got to go to Florida. I was in Homestead, Florida for a while. As soon as I left there at Assuan, actually not as soon as I left. I left at I just wanted to see other places, so I put in for orders to get out of there. I was at I was in Homestead Air Force Base from probably like I think it was like August of like 88 through to like September, no, well, actually October, November of 89. And that's when I left for Korea. And I spent a year in Korea. And then when I came back, I went to North Carolina. And I did Korea because it was a 1 year tour. I just, I didn't want to be overseas for more than 1 year at the time. If I would have stayed in longer, I would have gone over to Germany or fucking England or whatever. That would have been fucking awesome. But those are all 2 year tours. So at the time I was young, didn't want to be away from the States for more than a year. That's why I chose the Asia area. When I was actually over there, I was on the base softball team, so we ended up like actually playing all over Korea, and I got on the All Korean Air Force team, and that led me to playing in like the Philippines, Japan, Singapore. We went down to Australia to play some naval bases.
Wow.
And if I would have made the all armed forces team, I would have played all over the world. But that team I had at Suwon, it was just a perfect storm. We had some really good players that were all there at the same time. And we kicked some fucking ass. I mean, the biggest tournament we had was in Itaewon, not Itaewon, but it was more Seoul. It was the capital, and then there's a big army base in Seoul where we had this at, and there was bases, all the Navy bases, any base that was in the in the Korea at the time had a team in there, and it was probably about 25, 26 teams, and our little lowly base of like 1,000 Americans, as opposed to some of these other bases that had like 5 to 10,000. The team we went against in the championship was the Seoul team. We actually went in there, and they had lost the game. We hadn't lost the game, so they had to beat us twice. I don't know if you know much about softball, like 12-inch softball, but those you can really like rack up the runs and shit. Well, both of our teams were loaded with guys that could play D. The first game was 1-0, and they beat us. The second game was 2-1, and they beat us. They beat us twice, and we took second. And that was kind of a stick in the mud. That fucking, we were robbing home runs.
That's like
Everybody,
women's softball or something,
people
right?
were
Those
diving
games
to
are low
catch
scoring.
shit. I have never been in a 12-inch slow pitch softball game that had that many great plays in it. I mean, it was just like that tournament, people were balling. I mean, it was so awesome. I mean, you're throwing guys out at the plate from fucking right center and left center, and these dudes had arms and shit. I swear to God, man, it's some of the best softball I've ever seen played in my life. And man, I tell you what, it really changed me. I mean, it's like as far as what I saw that day in that tournament, anytime I played softball after that, it had to be fucking 100% on. It really trained me to be a pretty good player. And even if like, when I started playing in Chicago here and stuff like that with people, we were playing A-League stuff and playing the best leagues and stuff like that. I got on some teams with the best leagues. Go out there, and I had a pretty good arm. At times it suffered because of rotator cuff issues
Yeah,
and
where
shit like
did you
that.
play?
What's that? We
What
played out in
position?
Clarendon for a while, but I played on some guys leagues,
I mean,
and
what position would you play?
I played outfield. I played first base, third base. For the Korean team, when I was in Korea on a Suwon team, dude, they had me play everywhere. Actually, I was a pickup. the season started before I got involved. And a guy got sent off. I mean, he got sent back to the States for one reason. He had an opening on a team, and my roommate at the time, his name was Art. He was from North Carolina. One of his funniest fucking things was like he was talking about some chick he saw at a bar. I said, "Was she cute?" He's like, "Nah, she's ugly as hell. She could gag a maggot on the gut wagon." And he had a lot of sayings like that because it's just like
she
this,
could gaggle what?
gag a maggot on the gut wagon. He had a lot of fucking fucked up sayings like that. And he just cracked me up. But he was just like this short dude, probably about 5'4", stocky as fuck, strong as shit. But he was quick. He was a second baseman. He was like, you could tell he played high school and he was good. So he's already on the base team because he was there a little bit before me, and I got there a little bit later. And he's like, "Oh, you gotta bring my roommate out for this one and give him a tryout." I'm like, "All right." So he gave me a uniform and like shorts and a shirt. It was really polyester, really fucking itchy. And for the first time, I all these guys didn't know fucking who from what, but I had all my softball equipment with me, and I went on this this jaunt with them. Went out to this place to play some softball. My first at bat, first pitch, I knocked it out of center field. And you're like, all right, all right. I just I was pinch hitting. I wasn't even in the game. And then later on, they're like, let's give this guy a shot. And you throw me up there, and I fucking jack one out of center field. They're like, okay, let's see what else you can do. And then they throw me in the next game,
What were the
and they
fences?
got me in left center field. And I back then I could run like a deer, and I had some big ups. Back surgery when I was like 23 fucked all that up. But
What were the fences in those places
they were about 330.
for softball?
Yeah,
330 to center, do you mean, or
330 to center, probably 310 and left and 310 and right.
it's a good pop?
It was more, but you see, every field differed a little bit depending on what space they had to put it in. But we had one place that was down in Pusan, more of a Navy area, and I was a switch hitter. I could hit left-handed and right-handed with power, and that's something I developed when I was like working at batting cages when I was a kid, and they would have me as a 16-year-old. These guys were fucking a bunch of hillbillies or something, man. They just didn't want to get up in the morning, so they made me do it. So I'd get there and I'd show up an extra hour early. They'd say, don't be there by 6, but I'd get there at 5 and start setting everything up. And then by 6 o'clock, I was hitting free fucking batting cages. And then I'd go out there on a tractor and pick them up and shit. If they knew I did that, they'd probably be pitching that I fucking used too much of their gas, to pick up the fucking in the tractor. So I learned how to hit left-handed that way, because I always thought it was fucking cool that guys could hit both sides of the plate. I was a big Eddie Murray fan. Like, this motherfucker can jack him out left-handed and right-handed. So I always admired that. So when I got the opportunity to work at this batting cages and miniature golf and driving range place, I would, and they gave me the responsibility to open the place up. I would go there a little bit earlier and fucking open it up, get it all ready to go. Still had a close sign on it, didn't take the fucking gate up. And then I would just go in there and set the machine and boom, I'd go. I'd open up the fucking thing and hit the lever inside the thing and it would just start throwing balls at me. And I would just take cuts. I must have took probably about 200 cuts each day. 100 from the left, 100 from the right.
Talking about switch hitters, this guy, Mickey Mantle, I don't know if you heard of him, but he was.
Oh, yeah, that's another one. But no, Mickey Mantle was retired before I really got to start watching baseball, man. I mean, the one that really got me was Eddie Murray. Eddie Murray was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
That guy was
he was a dour man. He was a dour man.
Good fucking player.
Yeah.
But that's the guy, I mean.
How many homers did Murray end up with? Mantle at 536, is that right? These are.
I've got.
That's back when I memorized it before Bonds.
It's over 500.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know if he had over 500.
Oh, he's got over 500. He's got 504.
504.
Yeah, he batted 287 in his career. He had 336 at bats, 3,255 hits. His WAR was 68.6 for his career, 1627 runs, almost 2,000 RBIs, 1917 RBIs.
Man, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
He is in the Hall of
I
Fame.
know. We were.
He's a rookie of the year,
Remember that show? with
8-time
Phil?
All-Star,
You
won in
guys
the
were making the
83
case
World
for Reigns,
Series, which
Reigns to be
they
in the Hall
got the
of
White
Fame.
Sox out. 3-time Gold Glover, 3-time Silver Slugger.
Do you remember that one? Was it May? You guys were making the case for Reigns to be in the Hall of Fame, and then like you go like, well, he is in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's
Well,
like,
speaking
wow,
of the Hall of
good
Fame,
then.
speaking of the Hall of Fame, next year I think it's the first ballot Hall of Famers are Adrian Beltre, which I think is the first ballot Hall of Famer, hands
He'll
down.
get in. He'll definitely get in.
Joe Mauer, which I don't think is the first ballot Hall of Famer. I think you should wait till the second ballot, to be honest with you.
Tougher call.
Chase
Yeah.
Utley. And who is the fourth fucking guy? The fourth guy's a little iffy too.
You mean fourth new guy?
Yeah, there's a fourth guy, and I can't remember who the fuck it was.
Yeah, I can't either.
I wonder if Baseball Reference kind of keeps track of what I looked at because I've been looking at these guys the last couple of days. No, it doesn't. Not unless I log in, and I never created a goddamn profile for this. I just go on here and look.
Before I forget, have you ever seen the No Gloves National Tournament? It takes place in Forest Park. I know that because I lived in Forest Park for 13 years.
Talking about like 16-inch softball?
Yeah, I used to go watch
Yeah,
that.
fuck that shit. I like my fingers straight.
But those
I'm
bases,
playing with a mitt. It's more like
right?
baseball.
Those bases are 55 feet, and they're throwing that 16-inch. But you should see the good teams. That these are all the best teams. It's amazing. It was amazing. It was a treat to watch that. I mean, like those guys. I mean, like hitting. Okay, sure, but it's really fielding that like would just amaze you. You can't make a mistake.
No,
And it's a 55-foot base, and you're throwing this
no.
big chunk ball.
Well, here's the
And
thing.
they were playing amazing defense. No gloves.
When you got
Amazing.
really good teams, you cannot make a mistake. Just like pool. If you're playing pool with somebody and they're fucking a shark, if you make a mistake, they're gonna run the rest of the table on you. You can't fuck around. And that's like when you get to that level of competition, whether it's softball, baseball, or whatever, it's just a special fucking thing. Anyway, real quick, I've got
I don't know when that tournament takes place, but because I'm not there anymore. But if I find out, and it would be worth it, for you to make the trip. It's not too far. Forest Park's not too far from where you live, really.
no,
Right?
no, it's not. But you know what? The funny thing is, unless I'm playing, which I've retired. I retired at 45. My back, my body just gave out on me. So I tried to go back at 50 and play with some guys from work, and I was pulling quads and hamstrings and all kinds of shit. I couldn't hit the ball. My eyesight's off. So like 5 years, it's not like riding a bike, man. It's not. You got to keep that shit up, and if you don't, and you let it go, it's going to be gone forever.
Yeah. I just mean as a spectator, though,
Yeah, I'd rather play than watch, especially softball. If I want to go watch something, it's going to be baseball. But anyway, let me talk really quick about the standings here. Dude, Baltimore is the best team in the American League right now, 61-38.
Isn't that great?
It is. Tampa Bay Rays, 61-42. Kind of expect that from them because they're always up there. Texas, 59-41. They're the third. And then when you start getting into the wild card here, you got Houston, 56-44. Toronto, 55-45. Boston's 53-47. You got New York that's 53-47. And Minnesota, 53-48. After that, you got Los Angeles Angels at 51-49. Seattle 50-49. Cleveland 49-50. And Detroit 45-54. Those are all the ones that are still within the wild card standing.
Minnesota is on top of the Central, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they don't need
by
the
3
wild
games
card.
over Cleveland. Yes.
Yeah.
On the National League side, you got Atlanta 64-34. They're the best league. They're the best team in the National League. The Dodgers are after that 57-41. You got Milwaukee 55-45. They took over Cincinnati by a half game recently. So
They
right
played
next after that
Cincy.
is
They played Cincy a 4-game series and they swept it.
yep.
They were 2
That's
games
that hurt them.
under, and then they were 2 games up.
Yep. Cincy is right underneath them at 55-46. Then you got Arizona making a resurgence, coming back with all the young talent, 54-46.
They got to
San
get a pitcher.
Francisco,
They have
50.
to get it. They have to get a starting pitcher. I mean,
Yeah,
one at least, right?
they need somebody to go with Gallon, maybe 2. 54-46 on the San Francisco, so they're tied with Arizona there. The Phillies are right there, 53-46. You got Miami that's in the mix at 54-47. So they're a little bit behind, but they get that extra loss, which kind of throws them back a little bit.
They had
The
some
Cubs,
tough times recently,
the,
and I think you could look at their record in 1-run games, and it was ridiculous. And that's gonna come back to 500.
yeah. You have the Cubs that are 48-51. You have the San Diego Padres 48-52. And boy, what a disappointment the San Diego Padres are. Your Mets are still there with 46-53. There's 7.5 games out of the wild
bad.
card, so I don't really feel comfortable about that. And then St. Louis is 44-56. So, when it comes to Chicago on down, I think they're sellers. When it comes to Cleveland and Detroit, kind of got to be sellers. I mean, I don't know if you, not so much Cleveland's 49, but Detroit, you're 45 and 54.
Well, Cleveland would have been able to trade B.E.E.R, and then he gets hurt. So I don't know what they're going to sell.
Now, here's your worst teams. Right now, you got KC and Oakland vying for the first pick in the draft next year if the whole, draft goes right for them, but they're definitely tanking. 28-73 for KC, 28-74 for Oakland. That is fucking pathetic. That is somebody who's not trying to win.
Well, we know the A's aren't. We know the A's are trying. I think the Royals were semi-trying,
Yeah. And then you got Colorado, who's 39-60. That's pathetic. You know what? That's a product of signing Chris Bryant to that big deal.
Well, that's a product of the Rockies. I would put them right up there with the Angels, Mets, as the dumbest teams in baseball. I mean, I talked about it before. So I'll be quick, but I mean, like that time they signed Arenado to a long-term thing, and then they create this environment where he can't stay. They piss him off.
There's no reason why Arenado should be in California or in the Cardinals organization. What did they get from him that actually worked?
When they traded him to the Cardinals, I assumed that Nolan Gorman was going to be in that deal because he's a third baseman, and it would make a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
But they don't get Gorman in that deal. I can't remember who they got.
Well, here's who they got in that deal. Let me tell you, because I'm on. This is all right. So traded by the Colorado Rockies, Mateo Gil. Who the fuck is he?
Right.
Tony Losi. Who the fuck is he? He's still in the minors.
Don't know.
Both these guys are still in the minors. Jake Summers. Who the fuck is he?
No, I haven't heard of any of those guys.
Austin Gomber. Okay, so he's part of it. And then Elehuris Montero, who's actually been up this year. And his numbers look like this. 2023, 35 games played, 112 plate appearances. He's got 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, added 198, 223 on base percentage, slugging 321 with an OPS of 544. What a piece of shit.
So
are you kidding me?
So Exhibit A is not getting Gorman in that deal, who I think the Cardinals would have probably expected to get rid of in a deal for a third baseman. We'll get rid of
Colorado got
third base prospect. All right, so that's Exhibit A. Exhibit B is signing Bryant for no reason. And Exhibit C is they extended Daniel Bard, who was a reliever that had a good year, and the underlying numbers probably didn't support it that well.
And
And like
Charlie Blackman is still taking up space.
and a closer on a team like the Rockies means nothing. You know what I mean? Like just cycle through your arms and your minor league system for that. It doesn't matter. You're not like contending for anything. You don't need to worry about your closer thing. That's what the Mariners realized when they traded Diaz to the Mets, because they're like, we don't need Diaz right now. I don't know. It's just the Rockies. Rockies are a dumb team. They're a dumb team that doesn't have any direction. It doesn't. The things they do
Yeah.
don't make any sense. The Mets are a team that spends money foolishly, and the Angels, same deal, I guess. The Angels are trying, and even some of the things that they do that make sense just haven't worked out. So
No.
those are your dumb teams, America. I mean, those are the three dumbest. But the Rockies are the one. I think the Rockies are the team that just has the least direction of any team I can think of. Like they
Yeah.
don't make any sense. If you are, you can probably relate to this even in the beer league. If you're doing things, if you're making moves and then I don't know, going back on them, like you're not getting anywhere. You need to like focus on a direction and then just go with it.
You know what really fucks up the Angels, to be honest with you, is that they never have a solid pitching staff. They'll have one or two guys that, you know, put up good shit, but the other three fucking suck. Or they're so spotty that like it just they're rally killers. They're it's like you get the two guys that win the games for you, and then that third guy's gonna lose, and you can't get a streak going with these fuckers. And then you got an aging center fielder. It's kind of like Mickey Mantle without the drinking, who keeps getting hurt. He agrees with me.
Whenever you say Mickey Mantle, he barks.
Yeah. Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle. Oh,
All right, maybe I'm wrong. Hey, Frankie.
You got to say for Frank.
Jeff, I was thinking that you mentioned this before. It's too bad you didn't know. It's too bad you didn't know Doug and Norm and Chad back when they were doing their baseball team. You would have been a good member of that team, I bet.
Dude, I swear to God, if I would have known those guys back in those days, that was even after the back injuries and shit, I was actually still like, rehabbed a little bit where I can play pretty well. I would have been down. And I kind of like, when I see those pictures and shit, I kind of wish I was part of that, to be honest with you.
Maybe
because I really miss baseball. I don't want to be playing 12-inch baseball, but what the fuck are you going to find a league that can play real baseball?
Maybe we can Photoshop a picture of you in that team picture,
Yeah.
Yeah. That
would be sacrilege. That's such a good team for them. And
what's even worse, Jeff, is those guys did know me back then, and they never asked me to, would I be interested in playing on the team?
Dude, I swear to God, I could have been a pitcher. I could have fucking thrown some smoke. I had a pretty wicked curve. I had a pretty good slider. I had a deceptive delivery. I had like a slow delivery, but then I'd fucking explode at the end and fucking like flick my wrist, and it fucking you hear the sizzle and shit, and I'd throw people off, And it's like I still had the same delivery for like an off speed pitch too. So, it's like back when I was playing in high school and stuff like that, playing with my friends and stuff, we'd fuck around and go out to the park and, just try to, see if we can like strike people out. We call it strikeouts, and we'd go out there and, just play. And I'd strike those fuckers out a lot, course, they struck me out a lot too, because we were just kind of like two-way players. You know, in high school, everybody's kind of a two-way player. If you had a good arm, you were pitching, and then you would be out there in the field somewhere. You know what I mean?
I give my dad shit about this. When I was like 11, I reached my pinnacle of my baseball career at age 11. You know, and I threw this one game. There was a one hitter with one walk, and I faced the minimum amount of batters. You know, so I faced, what is that, 18? It was a 6 inning game.
Uh,
18 hitters. I had 11 strikeouts, but I threw about probably 40 miles an hour. So I don't know how, you know, it was I was not fast, even compared to other people who were 11. You know, but we had a catcher. His name was Rob Fermansky, and he never pitched for us, and he had this great arm. He was the guy that threw both of those guys that reached base against me. He threw them out at second. I mean, how many times do you have a caught stealing at that level? You know, 11 years old. You know, and
oh, dude, we used to,
my
yeah.
dad was the coach, and he never thought about pitching Fermansky. Well, this guy Rob Fermansky actually made it. He got drafted and actually pitched in the minors, real low minors. But I thought it was funny, like this as a pitcher, you know. So my dad, being the baseball talent scout that he was, he had this guy in his team, and he was catching. He was throwing, you know, he threw those guys out at second, but he never thought to them. He thought he would have his son pitch, typical, right. The coach's son was pitching, and I wasn't a talented pitcher. I mean, the only thing I could do was that I wouldn't really walk too many people, which was such a nice thing back then, because you'd have, you know, you wouldn't have games with a bunch of walks, you know. But but anyways, so I give him shit.
That was my problem. Is sometimes I get wild, man. I put a couple in somebody's ears and shit. You know, it's like I beamed a couple dudes in the head. Never felt good. Never a fight or anything like that. It just shit got away. You know, and that was the only thing. It's like sometimes I could put up the walks, but I fucking threw some smoke and had a couple of good pitches that just couldn't control it. Like, you know, didn't never got to that point where I was like really dialing it in. You know, there were some days where I'd have like 9 strikeouts in a game, but there's other days I had 9 walks. It really depended on where my head was at that day.
I remember this one game. This kid struck out or whatever on a called strike, I think, and not. I don't think I was pitching. Maybe I was, but he said to the umpire that you suck or something like that. His mom came out of the stands and like was like hitting the kid. It was like, you know, in the 70s. But my dad explained to me that it could be a generational thing, because when the term "you suck," we just think of it as like kind of like, you know, you stink or something, right? But like
Yeah.
to my dad, he said this is what he claims. So I don't know it personally, but to somebody who is a certain age, that means like, you know, you suck cock or something. You know, it's like much worse than what we're thinking. So when his
Yeah.
mom heard him say that to the like, she came out in the field and like it was totally embarrassing. You know,
But
she's
it
like
goes even
slapping the
farther
kid in the
back. Like,
face,
yeah,
and
it's like you suck eggs is like the
yeah,
60
yeah.
term, you
But
know.
I was like, geez, I had no idea that that's what you suck meant. I just thought it meant like, you know, you suck lemons, you know. But apparently, that's not what it meant when they were growing up, you know. So to hear her son say that, I don't know. It's like my daughter used to say, "Oh my God," all the time,
Oh my God.
I
Oh
think
my
it's
God. There's Lou. Oh my God.
our neighbors that live across the street. They're religious people, and I don't think they like that she would say that. So I used to tell her, you know, you should say what my dad's sisters used to say. My aunts used to say, you know, "Oh mon Dieu," you know, because they were French, Canadian, French, whatever. But
What does that mean? Home at 2?
"Mon Dieu" is my God. But I was
Uh,
like, it'll go over better if you and saying, "Oh my God," because that's
Did I ever
taking
tell you my
towards the
grandmother was
insane.
100% Irish and she spoke French till she was 17 because she grew up in Montreal?
Who?
My grandmother.
Oh,
She grew up in Montreal. She was 100% Irish. Her parents were from Ireland. They settled in Montreal. She spoke French her whole life until she was 17 years old. She started to learn English and met my grandfather in her 20s and moved here. And the rest is history. He was actually supposed to marry some kind of like Canadian fighter pilot, and he never came back from World War II. He just like he crashed and burned somewhere. He died, got shot down. And then she had met my grandfather while she was engaged to that guy. He had like a really liking to her. And then after he never came back, they actually reconnected, and that's the rest is history. Fucking weird. She was a big Montreal Canadiens fan, and she had a little bit of a Canadian accent when she talked. You know, when she was going oot and a boot to go shopping.
so she speaks like a brogue French or something, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, a little
Interesting.
bit. Yeah, she was over in the States so fucking long, it started to go away. But every once in a while, you get that hinge of, yeah, she's Canadian still in her. But hey, man, I gotta go. I got an early day tomorrow,
Sounds good.
and it's almost 11 o'clock here. It's almost midnight there for you.
We broke a record for length of podcast after a guest leaves.
Yeah, just the two of us. But great conversation.
Yeah, I got an empty house here. I could go, what is it, 11:53 here? So I could go till I could go another hour at least. No, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
I think you should just take all your clothes off and rub your ass on things around the house
Well,
that you
I'm not
normally don't
going to
get
do what Sean suggested, for God's
What
sake.
Sean suggest?
Do you remember?
What did he say?
He said he had an empty house, so he could do whatever he wants. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Make a Jackson Pollock painting.
But I don't know. I mean, I told my dad that, like, maybe this will make me realize, like, because I always like to have the house to myself. I mean, I don't think I've ever. I don't even know how long it's been since I had it's definitely before the kids were born, for this long. But I told him it was only a week. It's 8 days, and he said, like, it's not long enough. Like, if it was a month, maybe you'd like miss him, but like after 8 days, it's not long enough. Because
Dude,
I'm already thinking, like, oh man, I only got one more night. It's just kind of
on the
nice.
opposite end of the spectrum, though, it's like I've got this place to myself all the fucking time, and sometimes I want people to be over.
Yeah,
So there's got to be a happy medium in there somewhere.
yeah. But I
But
mean, I don't have to clean up after everybody. That's usually my job, and I put baseball on, and I don't have Diane come sit down and go, like, "Can we watch something?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm watching this." So
you have more than one TV.
yeah, we have we have two TVs. I hardly ever watch that one, but this is where it's at. This is the
You know how
comfort
many TVs
room.
I have? I have 5 fucking TVs, and I'm just one person in this house. I got one
Wow,
downstairs, I got one upstairs, I got one in each bedroom, and I got one in the garage.
wow.
All you gotta do is buy those cheap ass TCL fuckers. They last forever. They got all the streaming shit. They got Roku built in. Yeah,
Well,
fucking
yeah,
awesome.
CJ has a TV or two in her room, I think.
Two?
But she just, like, she just uses them for games and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got my wall mounted. You know me. You've been here. You've been over here.
Oh
I
yeah.
think 3 of my TVs are wall mounted and 2 are not. So, and it's only because they're like in the corners and shit. And effort. But anywho, who we got next week?
Well, I'm gonna ask Chad.
Either
It's
Chad or Kimler?
yeah, it's only Chad or Kimmler that are left. Hopefully, Chad can do it next week, and we'll have John on August 7th.
All
Then we're
right.
gonna and then for the next 3 weeks after that, we're gonna like double up and maybe triple up if everybody can do it.
Cool. Yeah.
And then
Try to get a group of guys together, and then maybe in the last, as soon as the World Series ends, maybe we can get everybody on at the same time, and maybe we can get their critiques of how we did this year,
yeah.
and see if they want us to do it next year.
Has anybody talked to DC at all?
I saw him out in the field at a place called Monarch and Lion, or the Lion and Monarch, and briefly. I think he's just been taking it easy. He hasn't been really going out that much. He's just, it's a pretty evasive surgery, so I'm sure he's just like slowly healing back and taking it easy and going about his merry way and being a family guy. So
Paul said he couldn't drink until, I think it was Paul said he couldn't drink until September. I think he thought
okay.
so. I know
Well,
he likes his bourbon. So
yeah,
we'll enjoy that in September.
it's just a matter of yeah, you just got to do what's best for him, and more than what's best for him is what's best for his family. So they need him. Oh, but we'll have to talk with him after it's all said and done with him. Maybe see if he wants to come back to the league, or if we have to look for somebody else, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I want to try to get to 12 if we can.
Yeah,
If we can't, we can't. That's fine too.
simple as that. We need to thin out the pool a little bit. There's some people with too much talent on their teams.
All right. Well, good luck this week.
Well, thank you, sir. I hope I'm going to get at least another 5-1, or maybe a 6-0 for a fucking while. But
I don't want you to go.
I just look back at it, and I really haven't gotten over 100 points in a day in so fucking long.
I do that thing on the stat tracker where I can sort it. You sort it by the day, and like there's been days where I'm like at the bottom or 10th. I'm like, shit. Even days where I had like a couple of starters go. I think I had one. Not that it's disastrous, but I think I had 2 starters combined for like 0 points or 3 points.
Yeah.
I know we've heard worse than that, but when you have those 2 starts, you're thinking like, okay, maybe I'll get 30 points, and when you get 0 or
when it goes backward, you get 0, or it goes back like Jordan Lyles. I picked him up like a fucking spot start on Sunday, just to try to. I was trying to get that 6-0. I was going for it, and he got me 0. The other guy did pretty well. The Medina guy did well, but that Jordan Lyles just got 0. He's a wash. Well, you just wasted 5 innings of my day.
How far away from the 6-0 were you? I can't remember.
Fucking 15 points.
Oh, that's pretty close.
Yeah, dude. If you would have had a good game, but I haven't gotten a 6-0 all year. The one game, the 1 week that I like scored the most points, I tied with you, and you shared it with me.
Oh yeah.
That was early in the season too.
Even
that was like the 3rd or 4th
even
week.
little things like this week, Satch got the last 3-3. I went 3-3 too, but like it would have been so easy for him to at least go 2-4. I could have gained a game, Like it was a matter of just 2 or 3 points probably that separated it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
that guy just he needs a couple 0-6 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe since I gave him Schwarber, he'll get that.
Or maybe
the curse of the Schwarber, man.
Schwarber will go on a tear. September 15th, you're going to be watching MLB Network. You're going to be like, Kyle Schwarber's got 17 homers since August.
Well, he's always been kind of a second half guy. Well, I don't know if that's where he's been like, he's kind of holding where he's kind of putting his faith in, but dude, he's not even hitting 200, and he's got a lot of home runs. But here's the thing, you're going to go with Schwarber. He's going to get you 1 or 2 points, or he's going to get you 7, or he's going to get you zilch. He doesn't have these games that he just blows it out and goes 4 for 5. That doesn't happen.
But he goes 0 for tomorrow, 2. He will.
He'll go 0 for 2 with 2 walks. He'll go 0 for 3 with 1 walk, or he'll go 1 for 4 with a home run, or he'll get goose eggs for like 3 days in a row. And that's the thing. It's just like, it blows me away. I thought this whole thing with the shift was going to be actually something that unleashes his ability. When they took the shift away, oh, it just made it worse. Made it worse. Can't get it. I just don't get it. He used to be a really good hitter,
Yeah,
like good for
yeah.
average and shit, and didn't hit as many home runs, but somebody fucked him up along the way.
I
And
think
you
before
know
the
what? You want to be an Adam Dunn, your career is going to be over in 2 years if you keep this shit up. You're not going to be rehirable.
in
Philadelphia's
2000
going to give up on you.
in 2014, when I looked at like all of those Cubs players, including Soler, right back then, Baez, Bryant, I really thought Schwarber. I mean, not based on position, but just as a hitter, I thought he was going to be the best one. You know, I thought he was going to be. He's kind of like how high I was on Jose Abreu. I just thought that Schwarber was just going to be a monster.
I think he's probably hit the most home runs out of any of those guys since they left the Cubs.
Yeah.
I mean, look what Baez did since he left the Cubs. Shit. He's a fucking garbage player. Bryant, garbage player. Rizzo, good player. He actually should
Good
still be a
player.
Cub.
You know,
I
he just
wish
broke
he's
his
the one.
homerless streak, right?
Huh?
He's like Rizzo went like 45 games or 41 games without hitting a homer.
Really?
He just hit one yesterday, I guess it was.
Yeah, he's gone through streaks like that before, but I don't think 45 games.
That's a quarter of a season. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But, out of all of them, I wish Rizzo was still here. I wish he would have been a lifelong Cub, but
I think they could have kept Rizzo. It wasn't like for that much money.
he didn't. Okay, basically, what they offered him that he gave up, he signed for less with the Yankees after they traded him. He couldn't get that money. And that's what they were trying to tell him. They were
I
giving
think
him
the
more
Cubs
money
offered him
than
5
what
at
he ended up
15.
getting for New York.
Didn't the
They
Cubs
were
offer
actually
like 5 for 75 or something?
they were offering him like 16 mil a year for 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
And what did he get from New York? A 2-year deal at 15 apiece? That's talking about overvaluing yourself and
Yeah.
having a bad agent. Your agent was telling you, no, you can get more. You can get more. Guess what? No, you can't.
It's that position, right? It's first base. I mean, it's like they feel like you can like plug that hole, like with
There's so many first basemen in the
yeah.
minors that are waiting to come up.
But he's a good first baseman too, so it's like he's definitely a little undervalued, isn't he? I mean, like
Yeah,
he's a solid fielder too. It's not just like a big lug
yeah.
out there.
I mean, but now what is he, 36?
Is he that old
35?
now?
Well,
I
Jesus
think
Christ,
he's younger than
we're
that.
never gonna be done here.
He's younger than
We've been
that.
trying to get off of this for like, hold on, let me bring it up.
34? 35? He's not 36, I don't think.
I think he's about 36, man. Dude, it's been a while.
Sometimes I'm way wrong with my age guesses. Like
Anthony Rizzo has
Marcel,
been in the league since 2011 and 2023. He's been in the league for 12 years.
12 years.
And what it says here, he's 33 and 350. So by the end of the season, he'll be 34. Yeah, see, why the fuck did they give up on him so quick? He's been with the New York for the last 3 years. He was 30 years old when they let him walk, when they traded him.
I think
31.
they had this efficiency mindset and it just didn't fit. But
yeah, well, what have we done at first base since? Nothing.
if you want to if you want to be wary of Bryant staying healthy, if you want to give up on Baez that he's never going to figure out, those things are fine. But you don't have to. It's like an all or nothing mentality, right? You can pick and choose. You can keep Rizzo and let those other guys go.
I miss the days of loyalty to a player where you had that one guy that stayed with your team for the whole career, like David Wright, like Ernie Banks, like Ryan Sandberg. I mean, it's just I miss those days. You know, like George Brett, Chipper Jones.
George Brett, that was 40 years ago today. That he stormed out of the dugout looking like he was going to
Oh, that
kill
was the
somebody.
Pine Tar incident was
Yeah.
today. I remember that. I was watching that game. That was a Saturday afternoon game, and I was watching that game as it happened, going, "What the fuck?" Actually, I was watching the fucking game because I was like, "Okay, the Yankees and the Royals are on, two good teams. It's a Saturday afternoon game. It's one of those things. It's like after this week in baseball with Bill Allen, And I was watching this shit, and that shit happened. I'm like, holy fuck, he is hot. But Billy
I don't even
Martin
know
was
if
a
that's right. You
cocksucker.
can't do it after the fact. You could like before the at bat, check that bat, blah blah blah. You can't
Billy
like do it
Martin,
after he hits a homer,
Billy Martin is a fucking prick. He
Yeah.
always was a prick. He was a drinker. He was a drunk. You know, it's he used to get when he was hungover and shit, he would be extra hard on the players. That's one reason why he kept getting fired. He would treat the players wrong because he was a fucking drunk.
Well, I think
Then he ended up
Steinbrenner had something to
then
do
he
with
ended up
that too,
dying
though,
in a
right?
car accident because he was a fucking drunk.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's cut this shit. I
I
gotta
don't know
go
if
to bed.
Martin was actually driving. I think his
Yeah,
buddy was driving.
his buddy was driving.
I saw a documentary.
Well, that's because Billy was drunk and
Right.
his buddy wasn't as drunk, but he was probably still drunk.
It was like Christmas Day or something, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, somewhere around that
We're
time.
at a bar on Christmas. I think it was. I don't know.
What a way to go. But you know what? Live your life as an asshole, bad things are going to happen to you.
They said one last thing, but they said Martin was such a good manager in this documentary because he was paranoid and he assumed that the other guy was going to try to screw him like the way that he would do it. And the
Well,
other
yeah,
manager
you get paranoid
probably
because
had
you
no
fuck people
intention of
over. You
doing
think
these
people are
things,
going to fuck you over the same way.
but Martin would do these preemptive moves, and the person who was talking, I don't know who it was, was saying that that's why he was such a good manager because like he anticipated these things, but most likely the other manager wasn't even going along those lines. But Martin would go like, oh, so he's going to try to do this, so I'm going to, and it's like it was all like in his mind, like it wasn't like the other manager probably wasn't going to do those moves.
You're probably giving him too much credit. Well, Lou, another good day with you.
Yeah.
And good conversation for 2 hours after he left. He
Not
left
too
at
much.
9 o'clock. It was like 9 o'clock.
And
I'm like, well, fuck, what are we gonna talk about now?
only tangentially related to baseball, right? So,
Yeah, we talked about everything, man, and just not baseball, but yeah, man, have a great week.
all right.
Enjoy your time by yourself.
Next week I'm gonna wear a tank top and show off my tats. Okay.
That's fine. Don't impregnate a pillow while you're there.
I have zero tats and piercings. I'm a very boring Honda Accord driving man.
Well, I'm a little bit of a masochist. I like, when you put a tattoo up into your armpit like that, that's a little sensitive right there.
I didn't even know you had
This right
tattoos.
here, not so fun. That really fucking that stings. That stings.
Think
Yeah.
about it. What time of year do I see you? I see you in March. You're like all bundled up. You got layers on layers on layers. I don't see tattoos.
Oh, you don't remember me having all these tattoos?
No.
Wow. I can do this. All right, now now we know we've been on too long. I need a cigarette too, and I got pissed. So
All right.
love you, buddy. And I will see you next Monday with Chad or Kimler,
Yep.
and whoever takes the bait first.
Okay.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later. Have a great night.
You too.
And if you feel like giving me a call sometime throughout the week, I will pick up the phone.
Sure. I'll trade you Alonzo. I'll trade you back Alonzo.
Oh yeah, for
Bednar.
Daniel Lowe.
For Bednar.